to see an ever-changing news and computer terminology. Commodore news. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? 'Cause the Commodore's keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? 'Cause the Commodore's keeping up with you.
Hello and welcome to episode 209 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills. I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. Last week, we looked at our first batch of games from issue 83 of Zap 64, which we are, of course, in no way affiliated with, and emerged from the brown again in Demon Blue, got brawly in Budokan, and felt flipped off in Flip It. This week we conclude our look at the games in April 1992, along with what was lighting up our TV and cinema screens that month. Graham, it's our last April, but is it a sweet, sweet springtime treat full of lashings of jam and ices, or just a plain bunch of arse?
Well, here we are once again in the latter half of this showery and rainy month of April. So far, 1992 has brought us a bunch of nothing much, coupled with a whole load of rubbish. So our highish hopes for this final year of Zap 64 have been an altogether damp affair. So in a month that also saw McDonald's open its first restaurant in China, we head to the sweaty 8-bit cockpits of the all-American open-wheel car racing circuits as we go round and round and round again on a quest to race hard, earn cash, and stand atop the big yellow blocks in the arcade conversion of Indy Heat. And then we take a somewhat familiar side-scrolling trip through the skies as we, once again, fly our well-shaded aeroplane on a mission to destroy some oddly scaled stuff in Q10 Tankbuster. I'm always suspicious when I see a game from the same publisher that looks exactly like one of their other games. I wouldn't mind so much if it was more of a good thing, but we seem to be getting the same crappy sandwich with a slightly modified filling, and I don't like that. So, while we think about getting a sandwich now that is good, we examine a dick, laugh at a fanny, and prepare ourselves for some 1940s-style adventure shenanigans with a ginger beer, some ice creams, and more than a hint of a goonie in the famous 5-1, 5 on a treasure island. After that, we grab a little dagger and go for a run across some well-realised 8-bit scenery on a somewhat thankless and jump challenge quest, again in Moontorc, before finally delving into another single-screen puzzle game, this time negotiating the right-angled triangles, lightning bolts, and funless logic of the decidedly torturous Zoomerang. Well, that was everything April 1992 had to offer. A moist offering at best, really, with more than a musty smell of damp and dirty washing too. I mean, should we be having these mistakes in game design this late into the C64's life? I would say not, but then what do I know? I've only played every game on the system since 1984, week in, week out. What would I know about it? I have my thoughts about these things. The torturous sequence of events that is the latter stages of the C64's gaming library, one might say.
And what are your thoughts, Graham?
Well, the selections, it's like a bad selection box, isn't it? It's not great. What's in there? I mean, I'm not ungrateful for the selection. Actually, no, I am. I hate it when I think about it. No, it's just such mixed emotions.
Sometimes it's sometimes I'm down, sometimes I'm left, sometimes I'm right.
I take each of these, as I have done for the entire life of this podcast, I take these games as I find them. So I don't prejudge, or I really try hard not to, and more often than not, I don't. You know, when I've got wind that one's pretty bad, I'll still even then be thinking, okay, maybe I'll find a route in. And the only thing that prevents me from finding those routes in are the games themselves, generally. And they seem to be doing that a lot at the moment. They're just missing out key things, or doing something really annoying. And I've not got a perfect formula for a game, but there are core things I look for. Fun, primarily, is one of them.
Yes.
And they just seem to be losing it on the fun part. And I don't know. But well, let's dive into what we've got, I suppose, and figure it out. But it's not a great selection. And it hasn't been for a little while now, actually. It's getting very late stages. And I was hoping it'd be better. I'd rather there was less but better quality than a fairly not a rudimentary amount of average or boring is not a great thing. But that has been the C64's, really, if I'm absolutely perfectly honest with you, that has been the prevailing notion of the whole life of this podcast, is the games have been more or less a low average with the occasional peak. Which is also Gary's Tinder profile, isn't it? That's his history of Tinder.
He's got loads of Tinder profiles. He has. There's loads of things.
I know. Well, he puts himself under different. Studley Bud Muffin was one of them, wasn't it? I think his name on one of them, and Gregory Pock was an unusual one. I thought.
Yeah,
when he went through that mirroring phase. So
yeah, I commented the other day. We were in the shop the other day with my partner, and I was after some rice, and I went, "Yeah, we need it sticky and steamy." And I went, "That's Gary's Tinder profile as well."
Yeah, it was a few years ago, wasn't it? Remember when he was? He wasn't Rock Hudson. He was Rock Hugson. Just like nobody was going for that. Nobody.
No, they really weren't. Anyway, just as an aside, because I want to get off Gary's Tinder profile,
Good.
I always find myself on it.
Swipe left, whatever you do, left.
It won't let me. It won't let me. He's hacked the system.
You'll have to go on a date with him.
Oh, no. Don't want to do that.
Let him down gently, like a balloon.
Yeah. We had a comment on YouTube on our release, and it's a question, actually. This is from someone called Brian Larson. I'm presuming their name isn't Brian Larson 4102. I'm presuming that's not your name, Brian.
It's his Borg designation.
Yeah,
He is,
absolutely.
We are the Larson.
4102 and 4102. We are many. He said, excellent as always, gentlemen. That's very nice.
Good.
Always
That's nice of him.
a pleasure.
And Borgs, they love it.
Well, there's a couple of questions. One for someone else, but the question that I wanted to put to you, Graham, and Brian, if you're listening, hopefully you are. Here's the answer to your question. The music pieces used in the 2 Escape from the Commodore 64 spots, where are they from? Cannot place them, but they sound really nice and somewhat familiar.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. So they're actually demo pieces of music. So they are from, actually there's 2 different demos. One is from the double density commercial demo, which you can find both of these demos on CSDB. And the other one is from a demo called So-Phisticated. I think it's So-Phisticated III. So-Phisticated. No, I'm not mispronouncing sophisticated. That's the name of the demo. I think you'll have to look them up on CSDB. For the life of me, I can't remember the demo group names now off the top of my head. But double density is double density. I think that's 20cc who did that. Could be wrong. But by the end of this podcast, I'll identify them in some way. But that's who they are. That's what they are if you look them up.
There you go. And there you go, Brian. I said I'd ask and get you that information. So hopefully you're listening right now going, yeah. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just, I didn't know what they were. So I can answer.
They are from a more obscure end of demos, but So-Phisticated was a bit of a groundbreaking demo with So-Phisticated 3 when it came out. This multi-part demo. And it was famous for some kind of fancy pants graphics in it. There was something fancy about it. And the double density one, they just produce great music, generally speaking, and some cool demos. So we used them in our own S-Express demo somewhere along the line, I think, as well. So there you go.
There you go. Always happy to oblige. Thanks for the question and the kind comment. And on that note, should we get into some games? We have 5 this week.
Let's do it.
Yeah, should we get into them? All right, okay, let's talk no more. Let's get to our very first game this week. And Graham, it's over to you for this first one to tell us all about Indy Heat.
Indy Heat. This was published by Storm. Storm produced this one, they did. She's excited, isn't it? But the copyright is the Leyland Corporation, or Leland. Come to Leland. We like it in Leland. Leland. Leyland, probably. Developed by the Sales Curve. That's Simon Pick, who did the code for this. Now, he's done a bit. Narc, Nemesis, Microrhythm, Shinobi. He's been around for a while, Simon Pick, and he's a good coder, actually. Good coder.
Yes.
And the graphics here are Robert Whittaker. No relation to the other. Maybe he's a relation to the Whittaker. I don't know. The Forrest is what I was thinking of.
Forrest Whitaker.
As opposed to the other one you might be thinking of, yeah.
Bobby.
Bobby Whittaker, yeah. Anyway, he did Narc, Rodland. The graphics for Rodland, they were pretty good, weren't they? Scout, Swiv. He did the graphics for Swiv. Oh. So, all right. And the musician here, of course, was Simon Pick as well. He's a bit of a all-rounder, isn't he? Because he did Microrhythm and Microrhythm Plus, don't forget.
Indeed.
Which was full of samples, as there are in this game. few samples and the old sound effects. This was an arcade game. Of course it was an arcade game. It was in the arcades apparently known as Danny Sullivan's Indy Heat. Don't know who Danny Sullivan was. I'm guessing he was some kind of racer. I was an Indy car driver. It says I've just noticed it in the blurb. Anyway, so the game, the blurb in the bit here, it says Danny Sullivan's Indy Heat is a 1991 racing game developed and published in arcades by Leyland Corporation. It stars American Indy car driver Danny Sullivan. There he is. And features the tracks of the Kart series of the early 90s. The Kart series being the Championship Auto Racing Teams, which was an American racing sort of organization body, hence the part that you think about, really. Home versions of this were released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Amiga Atari ST, and the Commodore 64. No other 8-bit versions were out there. The Indy Heat featured 3-player capability. It's one of those arcades that had 3 steering wheels on, I believe.
Yeah, I think so, yes. Yeah.
So it featured the capability in the arcade version. It was 4-player on the NES, which is quite cool, isn't it? So the NES had 1 extra player. And it was similar in gameplay to Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road. Do you remember when we played that Ivan Iron Man Stewart Super Off-Road Racer?
I do remember that, yes.
Players earn money based on their
bouncy.
race finishing positions. Yes, it was very bouncy. Now, there's 14 tracks in the arcade version, all of which are based on actual real IndyCar circuits. I know so little about IndyCar that I've already exhausted my information about it. How about that?
Well done. Well done.
But the names of the tracks are Phoenix, which was only in the arcades, Vancouver, Indianapolis, Long Beach, Detroit, Pocono, Cleveland, East Rutherford, Toronto, Michigan, Brooklyn, Lexington, Mid-Ohio, Elkhart Lake, Cooks, Monterey, and Denver, Colorado. The arcade game was later ported by Rare. So there you go. Interesting, all that, isn't it?
Very.
So this was an arcade conversion then for the C64. Of course it was an arcade conversion of a 3-player arcade. Now, obviously some things are going to translate, aren't they, to the C64? Some probably aren't. There is a documentation for this, for the C64 version, which I shall have a quick peruse through and just, pick out the deets. It says, Motor Racing Madness. Indy Heat is a fast and furious, I see what they did there, but it's predating other movies, so they stole it from this. Anyway, it's fast and furious racing action.
This game's not all about family, is it? Not about family.
Family, no. It's not about the family.
And swapping safes.
There's no spanner fights, I don't believe in this. I don't remember any. It's all
The
about
size
the
of the spanner denotes the number of the sequel.
It does. The big spanners in that last one, that's big spanner fight. They are big nuts. You see, you need for big spanners. Don't you?
You got to twist those big nuts off with the big spanners in Indy Heat.
He really does twist somebody's nuts off with them. Anyway. Never mind your diversionary tactics. So it says here, fast and furious racing action, where a decidedly mean streak may just keep you out in front. With the money you win, plan your attack for 10 different circuits. There's only 10 here. Do you play safe with better brakes or go for it with more engine power? Do you boost your turbo or your crew? The decision is yours. With a combination of skill, nerve, and a few dirty tricks like running over other teams' pit crews, maybe you could end up being showered with champagne and kisses. I don't think if you run over the people's pit crews, it's a legal move to do, but it's okay in the arcades, isn't it? How to play. Indy Heat can be played by up to 2 people at the same time on joystick or keyboard. The aim of the game is to win on all 10 race circuits, that's 12 races, mysteriously, and customize your car to improve its performance. To progress through the 12 races, you must beat all the computer opponents. Losing to the computer will result in you having to use one of your coins to continue. You begin with only 3 coins, so speed is of the essence. And there's a few hints and tips. Use turbo for speed boost, but watch your supply. Use the pit stop when you're out of gas or on fire. That's just generally good advice.
Yeah.
Hitting fire will exit pit early, of course. Try to knock other cars off their jacks. It's a bit harsh. And then it says Gasoline Alley. This is where you can buy turbos, brakes, tyres, crew, and miles per gallon, and engine things. So there's a little bit for everything. Now, the interesting thing about the controls here, there's 2 types. And this is quite a nice thing about this. I'll give it its due. Mm-hmm. So there's normal control and there's alternative control. There's a red pill or the blue pill, isn't there in this? It's there. The standard setting is normal. And that sees the controller moving left or right, which rotates you around in the kind of standard formation of this overhead type racing view, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's no effect on pulling down, doesn't do anything. Don't try it. It's pointless. But if you push up, that'll do your turbo, and pressing fire is accelerate, release fire, or hold the fire button down is accelerate, take your finger off the fire button, that's brake. That's actually quite a nice idea, that, to controlling the acceleration with the one button. Quite liked it. The alternative, or red pill, is that you push the various angles of the joystick are the points that you sort of turn. So pushing up will drive upwards, pushing top left will go top left, and left is left. And it's sort of all of the compass points actually drive you, and you steer it that way. And then the fire button is still the turbo on that. So in other words, your acceleration is actually depending on what direction you push the joystick. Again, that's quite interesting. And it's good that they've got those two sort of modes of play, because that means that, you're catering for the different types, because not everyone's so good at the rotational. Now, I've, over the life of this podcast, I actually came to hate that rotational. But weirdly, the one thing I hate more than it turns out is alternative on the game like this, because I've got so used to trying to drive it. Yeah. I've got so used to trying to drive it that way that when I tried to try it alternatively, it was a car crash, quite literally. Quite literally. So there you go. It's a race game, isn't it? So that's what it is. So you'll start things off after you've read those exciting instructions and you're preparing yourself for the fast and furious action you're going to get. And you'll be presented with a very yellow-looking title screen. It's not bad. Loading screen. It's not bad. It says Indy Heat, and there's a guy being, I don't know, he looks like he's driving a block of cheese. And he's got yellow eye patches on and red eyes. He's got pink eye. So he's obviously been not either wiping his ass properly or he's been farting into his own pillar. You choose. Whatever causes that mysterious affliction, he's got it bad. But it's not bad.
You wouldn't know, of course. You wouldn't know.
I don't know such things. I don't know what pink eye is. And even if I did, I wouldn't agree to it. The shading on the race car is nice. It's just in the wrong colour. I always think, no, I've never, maybe it's an Indy Heat thing, but I've never seen a yellow and pink race car. Maybe there is though. And it could be, it could happen. It could happen. But it's an okay rendering. You'll get past that and then you get to the varying controls of the next bit. So you'll press fire to progress and you're presented with the menu, the title menu, as it were. It's a bit moribund, a bit bland, but it is what it is. You can choose the controls for the 1 or 2 player, which is obviously keyboard or joystick. You can choose sound, music. The music's okay at this point. It's all right. It could have been more racy, and I mean like race car, not woo woo kind of race. But it could have been more of that. Or you can choose sound effects. I'd advise that you try sound effects out and see what your tolerance is. Just try them out and see what your tolerance is. It's the best way only way you're going to know. And then there was the mysterious multi-load yes or no. I wasn't sure what that did because I was using a cartridge version of this. So I don't know if that did something. It didn't seem to do a lot. Because it just loaded regardless. So I don't know what that, and I did try and find out what it meant and I couldn't, and I gave up in the end. Now, according to the, interesting to the credits, it says the music in this is by Mini Spock, which I thought was interesting because the music's actually Simon Pick, so he's obviously just given himself an alternative name. Maybe that's his music name. I wouldn't have chosen that though, Mini Spock, would you?
Could be the name for his past that.
Maybe it is his name for his who knows?
I don't know. It's like
he's got a mole on his diddler. That's what he's got.
Live long and prosper. Time to bring out the Mini Spock.
I'd say put it away, Spock. And yes, that was a bad Kirk impression. I don't really do Kirk impressions. Terrible. Anyway, stop digressing me.
Spanners.
So you'll get past that after you've made your selections. And you'll get to the next selection, which is where you choose your extra bits for your car. Now, you get some money to spend initially, and then you can choose to spend it on the various things. Either you can put, 30 grand for a bit of extra turbo, or 30 grand for some extra brakes, 40 grand for better tyres. You choose what you want to do, or you can just have Simon's pick. Turns out he can pick quite good things, so let him pick it, just random riddle-me-ree. And if you're playing 2-player, the 2-player option will also do that. Oddly, if you're playing 1-player, it still shows you the 2-player options, even though nobody's picking anything, which is a bit cheap. I know, you could just cover that up. You don't need to see that if you're playing 1-player, but it's there. You'll go then be presented with the... Now, I want to say this is a view of the map, and I think they could have rendered this better. It didn't look very good. I mean, it gives you the basics of what the map looks like, fair enough, but it is like a big blocky splat in the middle of the screen. It's considering we've had reasonably well-polished, okay graphics so far, nothing major, but it just feels a bit cheap.
Yeah.
Then, of course, then you'll go to the next bit. You need to select your driver as well, by the way. I forgot to add that. So before you select your turbos and that, you select which driver you're going to be, and you get these little faces. They're quite funny, actually, the little faces, but you get a little face to pick. They've all got names as well, like Sean, or Storm, or Bruiser, and things like that. You put your own initials in for your name, so you don't get to put a long name in like Storm or John or Pete. You get 3 letters. It felt like it was a bit of a cop out. Why couldn't I be like, I can always put in Egg, you see, which is why I choose 3 letters. But so Egg was going to do quite well in this thought. And then once you get past that, game starts. It's a standard top-down viewer for this kind of thing. If anything, I would say the cars are perhaps, compared to the track size, the cars are a little bit oversized, actually. They look a bit long and a bit big to be on the track. If you look comparatively, this would mean that the Formula One car was pretty much would take up almost a whole of the track. which admittedly would be a fascinating thing to see for real, wouldn't it? Well, these aren't Formula 1, no, these Indy cars, so maybe that's where they look. I don't know.
Maybe. I also thought they looked like quality streets. Sweets.
Yeah. Yes, what, the tracks or the cars?
The cars, they kind of like got bits of,
Yes.
it's like, the pulley ones, so the like the purple one, where they look like that.
Yes. Well, if you think about it, this has got a little bit of scaling issue, and it's a bit, because if you look at the buildings that are around the side and you look at the size of the cars, look at the grandstand and look at the size of the pit stops, and you think, holy mother of God, these cars are massive. And I know you're looking at them from a few miles up, because obviously it's from that super high elevated orthographic view top down. But my God, these cars are huge. I mean, I don't know much about IndyCar racing, but I don't know they were like, this is like they're racing big old cars, right?
Big.
Anyway, bottom of the screen is like the UI for the car itself, which shows you kind of speed and amount of fuel and the amount of turbo you've got left, and tells you whether your car's okay or not, or whether you need to go into the pit stops, and it tells you how far up your 3 gears you've gone, I guess. And then above that is the track itself, obviously in one big view. And then the first track is split into, there's a bottom part where there's a little pit stops. They change on each track. The tracks get more complicated, far more bendy. By the time you get into sort of level 2 and 3, I can tell you, there's a lot of track and a lot of bends, and it gets quite crazy cramped because it's all in that little space. Mm-hmm. And considering you're driving around, effectively a wardrobe, or a double wardrobe or a double bed. I don't know what cars are massive.
Double decker.
Double decker, yeah, it's big. So, but the idea is then you navigate your way around the track. There's 3 of the races. You're also playing 1 or 2 players, and you've got to navigate your way around. And this is where the strategy comes in, because unlike a lot of other games where you just press your button and just go for it, you do run out of fuel in this, and you can do your turbo and it will run out. And you've got to do a bit of strategy. If you bump into things, it doesn't blow you out the race or annoyingly scribble you around. Slows you down a bit, and then eventually you'll need to go into the pits to get repaired. So it just slows you down and slows down your progress. So there's a little bit of that management in there about thinking about, shall I go into the pits for a fuel boost now, or get my turbo boosted up? Because all the cars have to do it, which makes the game quite interesting in that way. So it does feel a little bit like a race. That isn't a bad thing. It's a short amount of laps as well, and on the shorter tracks, it can feel like it's over with before you know it. But that's the way the game races. You go around the track one way only, of course, unless when you decide to just see what happens if you go the other way. You lose, by the way, if you do that. So, but you're basically driving your car, and whichever you've chosen out of the normal or alternative ways of controlling, that's how you're going to control the car. If you position yourself, if you come first, second, or third in the race, you'll go to the next race. I think because if you lose, you have to use one of your coins to basically go back in. But if you're on the podium, you see a little podium graphic, which is all right. Lacks a little bit of shading. Again, everything seems to be in yellow. They're stood on the yellow platform. Like, why? Weirdly, they've got a purple and black checker pattern behind them. And I'm thinking, is that the pattern for this? Anyway, I would have just thought checker, it's normally black and white, isn't it? What do I know?
Don't know.
And then you'll see like a leaderboard, which shows you where you're at after the first race. And then and presumably, as you go through, you'll get higher in positions, and you'll sort of see where you're positioning on the leaderboard. And the idea is obviously you've got to try and win. And so that's kind of how it works. If you get money for each time if you're placed on a podium, you get money. You can then spend that money on upgrading your vehicle, and that gives you advantages, and so it goes on like that. And that's not a bad game arc as it goes.
Yes,
the tracks get crazy complicated, and I only got up to, I think, the 3rd track, and it was crazy busy by the time we got to track through. There's bends upon bend upon bend. Not sure that those are legitimate tracks. Maybe they are. It says they are, but I don't know. But it did play out quite well. I just felt that the more busy and tracky that got, the less easy it was to navigate my double-decker bus around the bends of it and all. But that's the way it was. If you do fail, you will go to like a hall of amazingly famous people, they call it, where you can see your position in the grand scheme of things, and you get to see the images of all the other people in the races. They all look kind of similar, really. So Jay looks like Dog, Man looks like Math, Fox looked like Imp, and Fig didn't half look like GNU, as far as I could tell. So, but it is what it is. And so there's a nice arcade-style structure to that, to those parts. Now, this, I think, must have been a multi-load, so there's probably loading in between. I didn't get any of that because, as I said, I wasn't the cartridge version. So that's how it plays. That's what the game's like. What's it like? Graphics-wise, I quite liked some of the graphics, but the scaling was off, which I found annoying. They're pretty basic as it goes. There's some light shading here and there, but it is light touch. We've seen this game done with nicer shading and done better for cheaper, actually, than this. This is an expensive game for what it's doing, when we've had budget games that probably do this better and far earlier. So it's a bit of an expensive, I guess it's an arcade license, but that's not really an excuse. I think if this had been budget, and it should have been, at $3.99, bugger the arcades. Nobody's going to rush to buy this because of its arcade conversion to the C64, I don't believe. I don't believe it was massively that popular. There's other games of this type, even in the arcades. So it's an average game of that type in the arcade with not much to offer. If you choose the music, it trundles away through the whole game. If you choose sound effects, you get this bizarre array of sound effects with a kind of a really low synth hum for the engines. That's okay. But the crashing sound is some kind of sample, I think, that's playing off. That's not so okay. That sounds like his microdom went wrong. And it's like, it's just like somebody's having a bad old time. It's like crash bang wallop, but it's actually quite horrible on the ear. But other than that, the gameplay's okay. I had a little bit of fun with this. I don't normally go for these kind of games. I didn't find the difficulty level on it too crazy. I just found that in actuality, the pace is a little bit slower than perhaps you want it to be. And things sort of trundle more than race. And maybe that's to give you time to sort of take things in and get the strategic element in there. But even with the turbo, it's not an exciting proposition. Maybe 2-player would have been a bit better. And I found myself placing within the top 3 more often than not for those first couple of levels. So you can get into it, I suppose, and you can get through it. I guess the payoff here is you're going to at some point work your way through all of the races and probably position first, second, or third. Are you going to want to do that again? I don't know that you are. It's not that exciting, is it? So maybe 2 players where the money is. But there's better games that we've seen than this. Some of them even 3-player. So I thought it's a lot of money for a game that's average. It's certainly, and I have to say this, it is not 91%. This is probably 60% tops from me. Maybe 50 actually, because it's distinctly average, but I'll give it an extra 10 because it's got quite a little bit to it. And it has got that control changer. But other than that, it's very average and not that great. What did you think?
Pretty much the same. Just to the multi-load thing, the multi-load option on the title screen. So because this is a multi-load game, it loads 2 tracks in at a time. If you turn the multi-load off, you just do those tracks.
Oh, right. So it doesn't actually load anything else in.
Yeah, but then after it gets to the end of it, it asks you. So if you do those 2, it asks you, do you want to load some more in, or do you just want to loop back round? It's quite nice. Quite a nice video.
It's an extra thing, I suppose, if you don't fancy all that loading.
Yeah, but they're not that much, are they? I mean, it's just a bitmap screen, I guess. So it's just a screen, isn't it? They could have had more than one of them in memory, I'd have thought. But probably couldn't they? I don't know.
Who knows?
2 of them.
Who knows?
Who knows? There's
Probably all them
some stuff going on
samples.
there. Yeah, probably. But, I would have preferred just one in thingy and then maybe loading, Dragon's Lair style. Maybe loading the other one in.
Would have worked better.
It.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, it's an okay port, this, of the original. I wasn't particularly familiar with the original, though. I gave it a go on MAME. It's a bit hard to control because of its steering wheel and trying to do a MAME game that controls steering wheel with analog sticks is a pain in the ass. But I managed to sort of have a look at it and go around it a bit. This is very flat. It's a very flat version of it. It's lost all the banks and ramps of the original.
Yeah,
it's all banked corners and stuff, so they're all gone here. It's just flat. So it feels a bit limp. It's a bit flat, but decent. It is a decent port. I'll give it that. It's got most of the elements from the arcade game, included the name entry and upgrades and the like. And the tracks seem to be there mostly, and they're recognizable versions of the arcade. So, okay. Inclusion of 2 control methods, individual for each player. That's good. So you can pick which you prefer. That's nice.
Yep.
And so, I'll give it kudos. The presentation is really good for this. In terms of visuals, the cars, they're both big and small. It's the thing of the C64, isn't it? They're tiny, but they're massive in trying to fit it all on one screen. You just don't have enough resolution to do this properly. And I think that sort of, it's neither one thing. It doesn't work either way in either direction. But it's what it is. So. Yeah, that's all right. It's kind of small. Sound is odd, though. Sound is odd. And there's an annoying tune. I found the tune quite annoying. It just goes on, and it's until you turn it off. Yeah. But the sound effects, I was like playing another game. It was the sound of battle. There's explosions, gunshots, and it sounded like I was being buzzed by aircraft. It was weird. I was like, what is going on? It's like, I was like, am I playing Beachhead 2 or something? There's something weird going on there. But anyway, the pit stops are well done. I did find the flashing encouragement. It goes pit in. Can be a bit premature. They wanted me to pit in as I was about to win the race. I was like, no. Let me go over the winning line, you idiots. So yeah, it's okay, I guess, this. I mean, I'm pretty much in the same ballpark as you. Maybe it's a bit of a laugh with 2 players because it's easy to pick up and understand. Smacking each other around the track, be all right, I guess. Bit of fun. It's nicely put together overall. Siren Pig is a reliable coder, and this is nicely done in all those kind of things. But I still think £12, that is pricey, isn't it? £12.
Yes, it is.
£12 for this. You'd have to really, really like this arcade game to go and spend £12 on this. Because in the arcade, this is it looks like Super Sprint. Oh, it's not as good as Super Sprint. It's the shortest time anyone's wanted to play Super Sprint game and then found they didn't want to play this one, like the Trouser Press. My favourite of these is still the shoebox one from Codemasters, because I thought the handling was the best in that one. It had a good back end sort of skidding out and stuff. Still my favourite. And you could control it better and it just felt good. So this is an okay Super Sprint knockoff, I guess, with some nice presentation. but it's not much more than that for me.
No.
And there you go. That's Indy Heat.
That's it.
Indy Heat. Could they not get the guy, by the way? Is this actually called the full
I
thing?
don't think it is. I think it's just called Indy Heat, I think, isn't it?
Is it just Indy Heat? I'm just trying to look at the it just says Indy Heat. So they obviously lost the license to whoever the guy was that was
Yeah, you might not
okay,
wanted his
based
name
on-
on this. We might have said, don't put me on that.
No, maybe he was not happy about it. But there you go. Let's move on. We've still got one game this part. And that game, well, this is another release from Zeppelin Games here. Comes in the eerily familiar form of F1 Tornado. I mean, Q10 Tankbuster. And it's nothing at all like F1 Tornado. No, sorry, nothing at all.
No.
Okay, no, it is really, and it's like F1 Tornado. Just skip this review, really. Go back to episode 201 and listen to that one.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, aside from a few presentation points, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of difference to what we said back then. Anyway, well, actually, there is. The strange thing about this is that F1 Tornado was coded by Wahid Khan, according to the thing. But this is coded by David Sowerby.
Okay.
So it's weird. It's strange. It's like he's obviously just taken that code base and just done some bits to it. But Sowerby did International Five-A-Side, Round the Bend, Sleepwalker, Tai Chi Tortoise, among others. The graphics here, once again, by Neil Hislop. He did F1 Tornado. And the music is by Andrew Roger. He did F1 Tornado. And although it says it's 10 minutes long on Lemon, the title screen music, it seems to loop to me. I wasn't sure. I was listening to it. I was like, but and I thought it was okay at best as a tune. I was like,
Yeah,
it's not a great 10-minute. There's a story to this, because of course there is, and it's more than I was expecting. Because according to the instructions, it says this: Q10 Tankbuster briefing. Enemy tank division heading north by northwest at 0500 hours. Fly through enemy lines to intercept platoon movement 100 miles south of the theatre of war. Tanks covered by enemy ground and air support. Intelligence! In capitals for some reason. Enemy tank forces capable of inflicting heavy damage to already weakened Allied installments. Q10s to prevent further movements by immobilization of tank machinery. Enemy have knowledge of Q10 Tankbuster deployment. End of briefing. So the mission details, it says the Q10 Tankbuster flies from the Allied base in the Mediterranean, heading towards various tank movements in the war theatres. Read the Middle East. Your mission is to seek out and destroy all hostile forces using armor-piercing shells to eliminate tanks, troop carriers, and assorted mobile gun placements. The Q10 also possesses a heavy-duty oil-cooled machine gun situated at the front of the fuselage. This is activated to destroy hostile airborne craft such as fighters and heat-seeking missile helicopters. When a flying enemy machine carrying a sophisticated weapon system is shot down, a weapon system icon is left behind, which can be picked up by the Q10 Tankbuster. The first icon collected gives the Q10 additional firepower above normal airspace. The second icon adds firepower below the Q10 Tankbuster. Once the Q10 Tankbuster has full firepower, additional weapon icons act as cluster bombs, destroying all enemy activity on the screen. The end of every mission is marked by a confrontation with an enemy craft of awesome firepower. The Q10 will be sent on a series of demanding missions involving new battleground scenarios and various enemies that must be eliminated for mission success. Prepare for fast action. Best of luck. Most of that gibberish certainly does not apply here. I don't know who wrote that, but it sounds to me, like you'd be doing it sounds like a simulation game, doesn't it? Going into picking your loadout, going in Q10, into different theatres of war, having to do stuff, bomb tanks, all that kind of thing. Yeah, whatever. There's a decent loading screen, I guess, looking head on at one of the Q10 Tankbusters. In that kind of, it's got this kind of, gritting terror, mean. Before we get a title screen, it's got a decent logo on it, a silhouette of the plane, some credits, and it's a high score table flicking between them. So, all right, music here is okay, as I said. Noted. I don't think it was anything special, though. Some people on Lemon went, that's amazing. I was like, is it? Pressing fire starts the game, and all that talk of theatres of war and seeking out enemy forces and destroying them is quickly shown up to be the sham that it is. Because this game is pretty much the same as F1 Tornado. We said at the start, and it is. You may control a different sprite, and the UI at the bottom with the score in the bottom left and lives remaining in the bottom right may have an image of a different plane between them, but the game itself is ostensibly the same thing, with one slight difference, as this now has elements of scramble, I guess, in it. Movement is the usual 8 directions. Holding fire shoots your machine gun across the screen. Waves of enemies will attack you, and more than likely kill you because you don't fire fast enough to kill them all generally, and it's a pain in the ass and it's slow and unresponsive. But if you hold down and fire, press fire, it drops a bomb straight down below you. And if you hold down fire and the right diagonal, it fires diagonally down as well as forward. Obviously, you're moving downwards as well, so it's kind of a bit weird. So, it doesn't kind of lock you into position or anything. It's odd. And so you use these to kill tanks and gun emplacements on the ground that scroll past. You do this, scrolling left to right, until a giant aircraft of some type appears. Massive in scale, massive, like the tank in the previous game. These massive, huge things. You have to shoot it many times. It fires rockets at you, and then eventually you'll shoot it and it explodes. And you move on to the next level. It's just the same, just a few more enemies and a different backdrop. There's blue helicopters. These drop the power-ups like rapid fire, smart bombs and shields. But if you die, and you'll lose them, because that's always dead annoying. And, always a pleasure in these games. And there's no option to re-pick it up. So if you're getting quite far into this, if you are, and there's lots of enemies on screen and you die, which you will, you've got no chance. It's one of them. There's 4 levels to get through. Like I said, level 1 sees the boss. I'm not going to... The backdrops are so unnecessary for this. Desert, whatever, they're just pointless. But level 1 sees the boss. It's a big fighter jet. Level 2 looks like just like a standard aircraft that's bouncing. The way the program is just going boing, boing, boing. It's like, that's a bit weird. Level 3 is a helicopter, I think, and level 4 is just another jet, and it's back to the beginning. This game is a rip-off. There's nothing else to this. It's a reskin of F1 Tornado, which in itself was not that great to begin with. Why take that game and reskin it? Why did they think, we didn't get it quite right, let's change it a bit? They've not done anything to make it any better. It's got those same types of graphics, and this is F1 Tornado because it's got that same kind of shading when planes do that twist and they get that underside bit. So, those good things we said about the sprite work in F1 Tornado stand up here. It's this because it's the same. But, all this gibberish about saving allies and the like is nonsense. There's none of that. It's just it just fly and shoot. It's a bog standard left to right budget shooter. Same graphical touch, like I said, that we liked in F1 Tornado. But I haven't seen them before. It just feels annoying here. It's like, I've done them, What they should have done is to just been honest and called this F1 Tornado 2. Yeah. And I probably would have been more forgiving about it. It's like, okay, you've just made another one, tightened it up a little bit, made them, but fair enough, okay. But call it a different kind of game with all this gibberish about it. No. Oh, and as well, I'm not going to say much more about this because it's genuinely not very good, even for these kind of things, because there's a cheat in it. They say it in Zap, and I tried it and it works. If you want to get through this, if you just head to the bottom right corner, hold down and right, and just keep fire button down, the enemies can't touch you. You'll shoot at the tanks on, and you just get through to the end of the boss. And when the boss appears, head up to the top left and hold down fire. You'll shoot their bullets, and you'll just hit them as they're bouncing up to the top of the screen, and you'll kill them. They won't be able to get you because you'll just shoot the bullets before they hit you. So you can do that, and you can get through all 4 levels like I did and loop around in no time whatsoever. It took me, about 5-10 minutes to do. It's not very good, this. No, it's not. Obviously not play tested very well or anything like that. And it's got 46%. It's not worth 46%. This is a rip-off of a game. It's not worth £4. You've already got this game if you've got F1 Tornado. You don't want it again. No one does. No one did. Why did they do this? Play it if you suffer from insomnia or something. What a rip-off, even at £4. We talk about asset flips and stuff on Steam these days, but here we have it. It's an asset flip. Just put a different title on it, different bit of UI. Yeah. Same game. Don't play this. It's not very good. What did you think?
All the same. Goodness. What's nothing to like that? I mean, all the problems... okay, I'll say this. The airplane graphics look quite nice when they move, because that's exactly how they looked in the other game that had the same effect.
Yes.
And so there's oddly some nice sort of shaded details on some things, but everything else is the same as the other game. And the graphics, actually, I think arguably they're not as good as the other one. In fact, they're a bit blockier. The game doesn't feel very nice. The controls are bitty. Shooting felt really annoyingly slow and dreary. It's just a dreary side-scrolling shooter. It's well dreary. Everything seemed to move too slower than it should, considering I'm in some kind of jet plane. It just felt really sluggish and it just wasn't very good. And even at $3.99, you push in your luck with this. It is basically a bad rehash of some other code base. And the other game's better, apart from anything else. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than this one. This one just felt a little bit underfinished, rushed out for whatever reason. Why they did it, I don't know. Why this is a tank buster, I don't know. Surely the other one was a tank buster with that giant tank you had to take down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this isn't a tank buster. I don't know. It doesn't even look. I mean, I've seen A10s close up, the A10 tank busters close up, and that doesn't look much like it. It looks now like it at the bottom there.
Well, it's a
they're
Q10.
famous because
It's Q10.
well, yeah, maybe it's slightly different, but they're famous for having the giant minigun on the bottom of them, aren't they? That's what they're famous for.
No.
So, and they used to do bombing runs in Donanook, didn't they? We'd practice bombing runs with the tank busters, and obviously they shoot the guns. You hear them going as they fire off their minigun thing. Quite famous for that, but that's nothing to do with this game. So,
No.
if this was a good old fashioned Donanook bombing run simulator, which would be very niche, wouldn't it? It's a tiny little place in Lincolnshire. That.
No seals.
No seals, good, because you don't want no seals were harmed in the making of this. Seals, animals, or Seal the singer. We don't want them getting involved at all. So no, just it's naff. What can I say? Naff. I didn't enjoy it at all. I've played better side scrollers even at budget, and this is not a very good one. And there's side scrollers that are already way better than this that are already out on budget. So just go and get Armalite for £3, whatever it is, and go and play that. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Don't bother with Q10 Tankbuster. You played it already because we did think of the other week.
Yeah, exactly. You have.
You've played it. It's exactly the same game. Well, it's not a great first part. We drove some tiny quality streets and played a game we've already played before. Let's go take a break, Graham. I think we need one. We're going to come back. We'll be looking at the TV, what was going on TV and cinema in April 1992. I'm not sure it gets much better, or we were even aware of what was going on, having looked at what's coming. But we were certainly doing other stuff. But we'll try and talk about it in a way that sort of sounds like we know what we're on about. See you in a bit.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Crash landing on a green planet full of vector graphics, can Sarah find a way to escape for real? Or is she stranded on a planet full of sun, sea, and chippy tea forever? Imagine finding yourself in a cinematic karate game, having to rescue a princess, or remain stuck under the run-stop key forever. What about finding yourself on a space freighter full of robots? Could you clear the decks? If you were transported back to a Wild West town, having to round up outlaws, could you survive until sunset? What if you were a wizard with a cat who must colour worlds? Could you beat the game, or would a virtual guitar solo announce your demise? Sarah might just be another visitor, but she doesn't want to stay a while, never mind forever. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, discover if there's a way out in Escape from the Commodore 64. Visit davidhearnwriter.com to find out more.
And so it is, April 92. What was going on in TV land in the UK? Well, yeah. 4th of April, Graham, the final edition of the Saturday morning show Motormouth is broadcast on ITV. The programme ended following the announcement that TVS will lose its ITV franchise at the end of 1992.
Okay.
For those who didn't know, we probably mentioned when Motormouth started. So it's this Saturday morning children's entertainment series on ITV, equivalent Swap Shop, Tiz was. It's those, number 73.
Well, yeah, they weren't ever as good as that, but yeah. But it was just the latest one of those, wasn't it? And we've seen a few changes over the years, haven't we?
We have indeed. Interestingly, I found this. It said according to the Kaleidoscope TV Brain website, most of the series for this have been wiped from the archives. Gone.
Okay.
Some additions from series 3 and 4, but only in edited form, have appeared on YouTube. But even in these cases, off-air recordings are regarded as the only existing copies. Gone. Motormouth gone. Gone, McCready. It's gone.
It's gone, McCready.
So, yeah, that's weird, isn't it? It's just...
That's a bit strange.
No one thought to record these things, did they? We're just like, no one in the future will want to know about these things.
Yeah, I thought sometimes you get the odd one on YouTube, but like I said, no, nobody, I think anyone was up watching this stuff, really.
We certainly weren't. We probably had a hangover.
Yes.
Friday night out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
they're probably been throwing up or something.
Yeah, probably. 20th of April. This was quite a big event. The Freddie Mercury tribute concert for AIDS awareness. An open-air concert in tribute to the late Freddie Mercury is held at London's Wembley Stadium. The concert is broadcast on BBC Two and the UK and is televised worldwide.
Yep, that was a good concert, that.
It was, yeah. It was also known as a Concert for Life. We've got here the entire track list.
Yeah, you have.
So let's see what was going on. I mean, they started off with Metallica.
See, I didn't remember that at all. I have no memory of Metallica being at that event, which is sad but true.
Well, they did that along with Enter Sandman and Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah.
One might have thought that after listening to Metallica, probably nothing else did matter. Because following them was Extreme.
Oh.
And they opened with a Queen medley.
Oh, they did. I remember it.
And it was Mustafa, Bohemian Rhapsody, Keep Yourself Alive, I Want to Break Free, Fat Bottom Girls, Bicycle Race, Another One Bites the Dust, We Will Rock You, Stone Cold Crazy, and Radio Gaga. What's the lead singer? Gary Cherone, is it? Is he
Gary Cherone, yeah.
He's no Freddie Mercury, is he?
No, he is not. He's made of elastic bands.
True. God, you can't let them do that lot.
They should not have let him do Bohemian Rhapsody, or any of them, actually.
No. Because then they did Love of My Life, which I don't know. And then they did More Than Words.
Oh, so Love of My Life is
how boring that would be.
Love of My Life is Love of My Life, You Heard Me. It's a beautiful Freddie Mercury song. It's been murdered by that clown shoe.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a really lovely song, that is. You've broken my heart. And it's just such a lovely song.
Okay.
But More Than Words, no.
Then it's followed by Def Leppard, who did Animal and Let's Get Rocked.
Not good.
And Now I'm Here, featuring Brian May.
Now
Is that
I'm
the Queen
here.
track?
Dun, dun, yeah. And around. Brian May sings a bit on that.
Okay, right. Then there was Bob Geldof with Too Late God. I don't know that one. Spinal Tap then with The Majesty of Rock.
Ping. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
That would be
Majesty of Rock, The Fantasy of Roll.
Yes, indeed. I've been listening to that loads. I've been humming it all week. That second verse still cracks me up because I just love how it's supposed to be so deep, but it's just so stupid.
That summarizes them perfectly. One of the remember Springtime on the same album. It's got the line "Old Man Winter can kiss my ass." So
yeah, absolutely. What does it say? What then are we born again? It's just to keep asking questions like these. I know because I told me so.
Classic.
That something is complete. The more things stay the same, the less it changes. Love it.
It's true though.
Well, yeah, it's true. Then there's U2 Until the End of the World, which was pre-recorded.
Yeah, I don't know how that works really, but I suppose they did something. They did a thing.
They did. Yeah, Guns N' Roses followed that in Paradise City.
They did.
And then Only Women Bleed, which is an odd track. And then Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Out of all the tracks they could have done, so any track apart from Only Women Bleed, you could have done, couldn't you, really, thinking about it? Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
Would have been quite good there, wouldn't
Sweet
it?
Child of
Mine might have been a good, anything off their albums, but I wonder why they didn't choose to do those.
No.
Interesting.
Don't know.
November Rain would have been quite good there, wouldn't it?
November Rain, yeah, Don't Cry would have been quite apt.
Yeah. Knocking on Heaven's Door. That's a good track, though. Knocking on Heaven's Door, to be fair.
Yeah.
Stop racing ahead. God, you're so eager.
Mango Grove, man. Mango Groove.
Okay, who gives a shit about Mango Groove?
No one. I don't even know who they are. They did Special Star, pre-recorded.
I don't even remember it for a reason.
I've never heard of them.
No. Weird.
Then it's Queen. Okay, so I don't know. This is off Wikipedia.
It's the remaining members of Queen in the band.
What, Spike Edney, Josh McRae, Maggie Ryder, Miriam Stockley, and Chris Thompson? That's not the Queen I know.
That's featuring them. They're the musicians that also play with Brian May and Roger Taylor and the other guy.
Oh, right. I thought it was Queen Vic more like.
No, it's the remaining members of Queen and the other featuring other artists.
Okay. Yeah, because then there's a load of tracks here. Tie Your Mother Down. That was with Joe Elliott and Slash.
That's a good version of that on there. That is.
Yeah. Heaven and Hell with Tony Iommi.
Yeah, it took it under heaven, sort of a heavy tweak with him involved, but it's still good. Still good.
Yeah. Pinball Wizard with that Iommi again.
It's a more unusual one for them to do, but okay.
Yeah. I Want It All with Roger Daltrey and Tony Iommi.
Good. That's quite not a bad version of it, actually, by Daltrey. He's quite good at that.
Okay. Las Palabras de Amor featuring Zucchero Formaciari.
Yeah, Zucchero. Remember famous Zucchero was quite a famous singer at the time, yeah.
Yeah. Hammer to Fall featuring Gary Cherone and Iommi. Tony Iommi again.
We hoped a hammer would fall on him.
Yes. Stone Cold Crazy with James Hetfield and Tony Iommi. That's going to be heavy, isn't it?
Say it in the Hetfield. You got to say it pronounce it in pure Hetfield.
Stone Cold Crazy.
Crazy.
Innuendo with Robert Plant. I need
Yes.
to look. I don't remember any of these, so I need to go listen to these. 'cause that
Innuendo
sounds
is
like,
brilliant. Robert Plant's version is brilliant. Yeah,
I imagine it is, yeah. Thank You with Robert Plant again.
he doesn't sing that. He just says it a lot, like for 10 minutes. You can't shut him up. It's crazy.
And Robert Plant does Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
He does. It's very good as well.
Too Much Love Will Kill You. Must be
That's
Queen.
It must be Queen, yeah. Maybe Robert Plant sings that.
Radio Gaga with Paul Young.
Yeah, so I thought we'd already had Radio Gaga. We did. Sharon did a version, Extreme did it, and then they've gone and done it again. Talk about trying to steal bloody Paul Young's thunder. Don't do that to Paul Young.
No,
he takes a piece of meat wherever he goes. Yeah, he will, yeah. He'll eat you with his meat.
Who Wants to Live Forever with Mike Moran and Seal.
That's a good version of that as well.
Okay, who's Mike Moran? Is he Mike? Not Mike and the Mechanics, is it? Is he? What was he from? Mike Moran. I recognise the name.
Don't know. You'd have to quickly Google him and find out that he was born in Leeds, and he wrote the score for Time Bandits. So I don't know really. That's a bit unusual. He's a music producer, so maybe he's just produced it.
Okay. Then is I Want to Break Free. With Lisa Stansfield.
Yeah. Now it isn't a good version of that, but she did come out in kind of standard I Want to Break Free outfit, didn't she? She came out like dressed like like a woman with a rollers in and that.
Cool. Under Pressure with Bowie and Lennox. That's quite a famous version.
Great version of that as well. And she came out dressed as, can you remember?
Oh, no. All I remember from that is she's basically wraps around Bowie, isn't she?
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
She's dressed as Pris from Blade Runner.
Yes. Yeah, that rings a bell. But I remember, that is a very good version of that, though. I do remember. All the Young Dudes.
Yeah, that's a good. I forget that Bowie wrote that, didn't he? I don't know quite. It is good because it's got Bowie on it, actually singing it, and that is mostly the members of the band that did it. I can't remember the name
Phil
of the band.
Collen, Elliot, Ian Hunter, Mick Ronson.
Mick Ronson is the...
Mick Ronson, he's from Hull, isn't
he? He is, yeah.
Heroes, Bowie and Ronson again.
It's a great version of Heroes, that is.
Good song, that's why. I want a great song. Lord's Prayer by Bowie.
Yeah, that's a great version of the Lord's Prayer, that is.
Okay, 39, George Michael.
That's a great version of the Lord's Prayer, that is. No, I'm joking. Yeah, good. George Michael, I'm afraid he steals the show with this, but his vocals are astonishing for that concert, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, These Are the Days of Our Lives, featuring George Michael and Lisa Stansfield.
That's a great version, that is.
Yeah, Somebody to Love with the
Legendary
Gospel Community Choir, George Michael and Moran again.
Such a great version of that track. It's the one it's famous for, isn't it, really?
Bohemian Rhapsody, Elton John and Axl Rose.
It's less famous for the song, more famous for the fact that Elton John and Axl Rose on the same stage. So, because they weren't necessarily the kind of people who would be together and friendly with each other, but they managed it for that show.
Show Must Go On, Tony Iommi and Elton John.
Yep.
That's an odd pairing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You'd never imagine it, would you?
Yeah. We Will Rock You, Axl Rose.
That's an all right version. It's a bit screechy.
Yeah, I imagine. We Are the Champions, John Jones, London Community Gospel Choir, and Liza Minnelli.
Yes, Liza Minnelli, yeah. Get them. He's big friends of Minnelli, though, wasn't he? Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. And finally, God Save the Queen, pre-recorded.
Which was pre-recorded, yeah, which was good. All good. So it was a great concert, actually.
Yeah.
Extreme.
Yeah, but they're just at the beginning. You can just nip to the shop and get some clats and come back and you'll be ready for the rest.
Well, I don't know about you, but I always get the impression that Brian May's a little bit obsessed with Extreme because he's always doing videos about Nuno Betancourt. If you go on YouTube, there's loads of videos of him talking about Nuno Betancourt and how great a guitarist he is. And then, of course, when there was the Guitar Expo, they were all on stage together and he brought Extreme onto the stage to do some songs. Then they're playing at obviously he's got a great respect for Nuno Betancourt because he is a crazy savant guitarist, and nobody respects savant guitarists as much as anybody, other than Brian May. He does, and he's very humble about it. He's like, I'd never be able to play that. That is amazing. So I think it's general reverie at how good a guitarist he is. Less so Gary Sharon. I think he just looks at him going, "How do you exist? You're made of elastic bands. What do you eat?"
Someone's just rolled you up, but with that ball of elastic bands you have, if you pull one, the whole thing just unravels.
Does he make a doink sound whenever he jumps anywhere? Because he's so bouncy.
One of them will flick you in the eye and he'll be gone. Oh, what happened? Sharona,
my Sharona. Yeah, he's an elastic band that's come to life. But Sharona and the Elastic Band, it's probably what he should have called Extreme, actually, really, thinking about it.
Yeah.
But
Extreme
anyway, but it was
Elastic
good.
Bands sounds like a program you'd find on the at like about 10:30 at night on a Freeview channel.
Yeah, that was a YouTube
D-Max
channel
or something.
turned TV. A YouTube channel. It's like Dr. Pimple Pop or whatever it is. It's a niche YouTube clip turned into some kind of show.
Extreme Elastic Bands. How far can they stretch?
If you do a Google search, I'll put money on it existing already. I don't doubt.
Yeah, of course it is. Absolutely. 25th of April. Obviously, that's the concert. It was a good concert. 25th of April, the interactive music video channel, The Box, goes on the air. It is initially carried by 4 operators, UA, where they are, Telewest in London and Bristol, 9X in the south of England, and Videotron, which is also based in London. Over the next few years, The Box is rolled out on a regional basis across all of the UK's cable system. I remember it when it got to Yorkshire.
Yeah, I remember bits of it appearing. Weirdly, I mean, the mysterious world of the UK cable system. What UK cable system was my first thought? I mean, what are they talking? Because it's not the broadcast system. That's not regional broadcasting. They're cable networks. Who is even watching that? And the fact that we had one called Videotron, which is definitely a transformer.
It is. It's that one laying on the floor, banging it in that game. Like, oh.
Or maybe it was Heavens to Videotron. What the hell are we going to put on this channel?
Don't know. Interactive music video channel, though. The Box. There we go. 25th of April, Parallel 9 replaces the 8:15 from Manchester. Is this a train announcement? As BBC One Saturday morning summer magazine programme. Sorry to say, passengers for the 8:15 to Manchester, the train has been cancelled. You'll now need to get the Parallel 9 one.
The train now arriving at Parallel 9 is the 8:15 from Manchester. Yeah,
it's also arriving at Parallel 10 because they work together.
But it will only arrive at the platform when you look at the train it's arriving at, and when you look at the platform. At the moment, it doesn't exist in either. It's Schrodinger's train for some reason.
You have to believe in it.
You have to believe in it. Yeah, believe. You have to believe. Take the red pill. Anyway, I was never
You're
up early on a
obsessed with
Saturday.
the red pill.
Well, that's because I took one.
Oh, yeah, you have.
Not really. I don't take any kind of pills. And if I did, I wouldn't talk about it on a podcast.
No, true.
Anyway, I don't do that kind of thing. It's too crazy, too old for that shit. But I was never up on early on a Saturday morning to see any of these miraculous changes to the morning schedule.
No. And finally, 30th of April, the Independent Television Commission announces that Teletext Limited will replace Oracle as the teletext provider for ITV and Channel 4 at the end of the year.
Goodbye, Oracle. We hardly knew ye.
What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Replacing something boring with something even more boring. God.
Somebody made that decision. Imagine the meetings regarding that. I bet there was loads of them, and I bet they were all dead boring. So what are we going to replace Oracle with?
I just imagine there's a long corridor with all these exciting different things down it, and then right at the end there's just this little brown door, and it's the Oracle office. And there's like a couple of cobwebbed type olds in there. Should we put on Oracle this week, Doris? I don't know. Let's put some job seeker on it. We haven't got any more information. Oh, we're being taken over by Teletext. That's Kenneth from down the other office.
He's always been after this corner office.
All right, Kenneth, I'm going to come to take over. Give us your desks. Our own little play.
Absolutely. It's like, what's his name? Alan Bennett. It's the Alan Bennett monologue. I've always liked working on Oracle. When I started back in 1964, just before it was the first thing we ever did. We typed out it all manually. We used to use punch cards. Do you know what punch cards are? Punch cards are these little cards. You have to put holes in them, and they spell out words if you're quite clever. I digress, obviously. Anyway, that's
obviously, yes. And then, of course, I passed Kenneth the second pack of rich teas that day. So, yeah, it would be that. It would have been that. So, if you enjoyed our little plays and our exploration into the world, we're trying to make what is essentially the most boring news announcement in the history of TV quite exciting for you.
Absolutely.
We don't want you to be bored thinking about the day that Teletext took over from Oracle. What actually happened was he ran into the room and ran a spear through him. A spear.
That would be good if Teletext and Oracle were like some kind of, warriors. That would be good.
I'm thinking more Matrix style. It's like the Oracle and the Matrix, and Teletext is just this really boring program that comes up. It's like, I'm the Teletext. Well, do you believe? Do you face a choice? I'm not interested in choices, really. Oh, get out.
Yeah,
Worse than that. The architect, sod off.
Yeah, I'm just text on a telly.
I'm just numbers, text. I'm not even that interested, really.
No. Anyway, there you go. New shows, though. There was a lot of new shows. Not that we saw any of them. 5th of April, E Street started.
Nope, never heard of it.
No, it was an Australian television soap opera created by Forrest Redlich and produced by a production company for Network 10. No. But I did see that this was the way they produced them explained Prisoner Cell Block H, because the standard way it said in what I saw was that the standard way of showing them in Australia was 2 1-hour episodes each week. Oh, there's so many.
That's frantic work pace.
And so what they used to do was, so over here, they would break them up and show them in 5 half-hour segments, obviously with adverts in. That's how they'd get five episodes of them. We'd get 5 half-hour, they get 2 hours. Don't quite work. Math don't work.
Those cheeky buggers. That's the right way of chopping up the cake, isn't it? God.
Yeah, that's what they do. 7th of April, there was the Pirates of Dark Water.
Never heard of it.
American fantasy animated television series, David Kirshner and Hanna-Barbera.
Nope, never heard of it.
Nope. 10th of April, you've heard of this, though. Heartbeat. No, it's not. That's Heartbeat. That's Tony Hart one. This is just Heartbeat. It
does go Heartbeat. It's like Rubbity Ollie song, isn't it?
The boring middle of England boredom fest of the 1960s and 50s, whatever it was, with Nick Berry, hat stealer himself.
Yes, I never liked this show or any of the kinds of these shows. No, and it was massively popular, unfortunately, but not
actually.
Not by me.
My mum loved it.
It had its niche. It had its target audience pretty clocked. Same sort of audience, I imagine, as the Vicar of Dibley. That kind of, and what they're called.
Anything on ITV3.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is where this sits. So your Inspector Morse, your Heartbeat, your Midsummer Murders,
Midwife.
All that kind of rubbish that just ends up on ITV3 for interminable hours.
Semi-historical period drama soap operas with added whimsy, because they're not exactly set in a real world, but they are kind of set in a real historic period, but they don't follow the rules of the historic period. So it's just kind of people in costume. So they're kind of costume dramas, but I don't know. This is some kind of, it says it's police procedural period drama. It's the 3 Ps. Nobody wanted that, but apparently they did. But it just made Nick Berry, it emboldened the Berry, didn't it? They made him Nick Emboldened Berry, and he started releasing songs and thinking he was popular. But we're to slap him down again. Slap him down. Mind your place. Know your place. You're in the show with Bill Maynard. He's way better than you bloody Berry idiot.
Yeah, remember who the gaffer is.
Exactly that. He's the gaffer. You're the apprentice at best, Berry. Now get the coffees made and shut up.
Stop stealing my hat.
Exactly. Apparently, it's filmed near Goathland and Whitby, which is a beautiful part of the country, by the way. It is, and also in Leeds. So it's filmed, in relatively our neck of the woods, but not really. We're in, the heady depths of Lincolnshire with all the other hobbits, and of course, that's in the heart of Yorkshire, isn't it? That's the whole different kind of hobbit over there.
Yeah, so, that's further along the coast and up.
It is. Whitby's a very nice place, and Goathland's beautiful place, full of lovely waterfalls. Pity Nick Berry wasn't in any of them, and I don't mean that in a way I want to see him bathing in a waterfall. Just being drenched, I think, is what I meant. That sounds worse. Right, okay. I don't want to see his berries.
14th of April. You don't want to see his mini Spock.
Or his Nick Berries, his mini berries.
His Twig and Berries.
No, that's his album. Twig and Giggle Berries.
Absolutely. I don't want to think about that. 14th of April, MTV's Most Wanted started.
I never heard of it.
No, I have heard of it. I don't know why though. I never saw it because we never had MTV. So
well, I was thinking about this and I couldn't think why I remembered it, and then I did remember. And it's because somebody we knew used to record MTV periodically on video, and we used to watch it back. And every now and again, we'd see something presented by Ray Cokes. And Ray Cokes was a massively popular presenter on MTV. Yeah. And that's the only reason I remembered it. Other than that, I didn't watch it because I didn't have Sky TV, which was the only place in the UK at the time you could see MTV. So
yeah, true. You need satellite, didn't you?
Yep.
15th of April, there was Sean's show.
Yeah, Sean. Do you remember that?
Sean Hughes. Yeah, I do remember it. I don't remember. Was never a big Sean Hughes fan, so yeah.
No. Died quite
17th,
young.
17th of April, White Bear's Secret. No idea. Not even a link to it on Wikipedia, so how do we know what it is? 17th of April, Tooth Fairy, Where Are You?
No.
No. 19th of April, something called Favourite Songs. There was no way I could search for this.
No. Tried.
No, it just didn't work. 19th of April, though, was Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories.
I remember of it. I don't remember ever seeing any of them, though. Do you?
No, I've never seen any of them. No.
Loads of awards. I know that.
Yeah, but this, I mean, it took a while to get here, didn't it? Because this was actually 1985 to 1987 in the US. So it took 7 years to reach our shores. And led to batteries. Yeah, and led to batteries not included. That was one of them that came from this.
Yeah, and I remember it was famous for its opening title sequence, which was all computer generated at the time. It was quite a big thing.
Yeah. 20th of April, there was Thacker.
No.
22nd of April.
Of our school.
He was, yeah, Mr. Thacker. Yeah, he was. 22nd of April, there was Mr. Wakefield's Crusade. I don't know what he was crusading against.
We also had a Mr. Wakefield, did we not, at the school?
I don't remember Mr. Wakefield.
Maybe he was at my middle school.
Maybe. 24th of April, there was The Torch. And
we definitely had him as a teacher at school.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, he was a superhero, wasn't he? He's like a really crap Johnny Flame. Wait, he was the Human Torch. 24th of April, The Gingerbread Man.
Nope.
British stop-motion animated children's television series about a gingerbread man and his friends. No.
Sounds good, though.
24th of April, My Friend Walter.
Nope.
This shit. 25th of April, Parallel 9.
We've mentioned that before. So.
Yeah, we mentioned that already. 25th of April, Gimme 5.
Nope.
No. 26th of April, Don't Tell Father. Sounds dubious.
Sounds dubious, and no.
Yeah, and finally, 27th of April, Side by Side.
Never heard of it.
What? No clue what any of these are. I don't care.
Well, we said it about a month ago that we are of the demographic that they could not address. British television simply didn't have programs for 19-year-olds. It didn't.
No, it didn't.
So, no.
We were down the pub or whatever, but we certainly were watching films and stuff.
Yeah, we were watching our own. We were. If you think about it, we were doing the modern equivalent of YouTubing.
Yeah, we were watching
creating our own TV experiences and making our own stuff. We were modern. In the modern world, we'd have been YouTubers.
Yeah, we were modern day Prometheuses.
Aye.
Film. That's the TV. Let's get to film.
Much better.
No, it's not. 3rd of April. You could have gone seen Deceived.
No, Goldie Hawn, I think. No.
Is it? I don't know. Man is murdered when checking the authenticity of ancient Egyptian jewellery at a museum. I don't know. No. Cuffs was also released that day. George Cuffs leaves a pregnant girlfriend. He visits his brother Brad to bum money off him. Brad's shot and George ID to kill her. He inherits Brad's patrol district. He keeps it to get the killer. It's a Christian Slater film, isn't it?
It is.
I seem to remember. I have seen it. I can remember very little of it, though, but I remember nothing of it. 5th of April, Enchanted April. Mike Newell film. 4 English women after World War I who are unhappy with their lives and their time away on vacation in a beautiful Italian villa.
Boring.
Oh, I seem to have dropped the butter again.
I've dropped my shoe in the pond. Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
Why did you? Now you have to throw the other one in.
It's good. So someone called the waiter to see if we can get it out. My foot's all wet.
I've dropped my shoe in the water. I can't get it out, milady. Oh, damn. Well, could you at least get me a tea?
And a towel rail at it. I've come over all of a damp.
Did you say a towel rail or a towel?
Towel?
I think it's a towel rail.
I said, can you get me a towel, please, I think. Maybe I did say towel rail. I mean, why not? Might liven things up a bit. My lady wants a towel rail? Yes. I have several towels here that is just lying about. It's unsightly. 10th of April, there was Showdown in Little Tokyo. I mean, Enchanted April to Showdown in Little Tokyo. There's a mood change.
There's a segue. Yeah.
So this is Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee.
Yeah, sweaty.
2 LA cops.
Looking very sweaty. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 LA cops with opposing views on what is the best way to uphold the law have to work together to bring down the Yakuza while trying to protect a beautiful woman.
No, it's during that Yakuza hating phase in the 90s when movies came out about Yakuzas in Japan because they were the new hate group for a while.
Yeah.
The baddie group.
There was, what was that Michael Douglas one? Black Rain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah, that was Chinese, wasn't it? It's supposed to Chinese gangsters.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was. They're in that sort of oeuvre, aren't they?
Yeah.
But Showdown in Little Tokyo, surely that's a rip off of Big Trouble in Little China.
No,
for a title.
I guess it is. Yeah, it probably is. Really, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. There was also Hook.
There was
Spielberg's Hook. At that, you didn't like it? You don't like it?
I've recently rewatched it, and I actually think it's probably Spielberg's worst film for a lot of different reasons. Now, there are some good things in it. The soundtrack is good, and Dustin Hoffman playing Captain Hook is pretty good, and Bob Hoskins is pretty good in it. They're only good things in it because they bring the characters to life a bit. Everything else is a shit show. And that includes the just basic premise of the story, Tinkerbell, which is Julia Roberts, and then, of course, the terrible miscasting of Robin Williams in this.
As Peter Pan.
As Peter Pan. Because obviously in this he's grown up, hasn't he? So he loses his youthfulness of being Peter Pan.
Yeah.
You know, so he doesn't stay young forever. He leaves Neverland and he starts to go and has a family and becomes a lawyer. And it's a really stupid premise for the story, which is part of the problem. So to unwrap that and then find himself in this fantasy world, but as a kind of a stuffy middle-aged man running around with a load of kids acting like a kid, it really doesn't work at all. It feels really awkward in certain places. And it's got some really bad child actors in it of the time as well, including the token fat kid. There's loads of really bad stuff that they're doing in this that they try to undo in a lot of other films. You know, everything that all the good work that Stand By Me did as a film about kids just being in their own space and being. And then later when you've got things like The Lost Boys with the Frog Brothers and things like that, but you've got these characters and there's a few others like that. Even The Goonies, I suppose, in its own way. But this feels like it's got a really bad ensemble cast of the kids that applied for roles in The Goonies and didn't get them. So they shoved them in this one. And there's a really cringeworthy bit in it where there's this black blind kid who goes up and, feels the Pan's face and he goes, Peter, you are in there. And it's like only has this revelation. It's just so trite. That you're praying for the bits where Captain Hook comes back because he's the only really fun thing in it, because he's the only true to character in it. The rest of them are all acting really weird in this. Really weird.
Yeah. And the weird thing is as well, if you think about Spielberg, and you're saying about child actors, just how obviously he didn't direct Goonies, but 11 years prior to this, he directs E.T., which is some of the best child actors in acting in any film.
Yep.
With Drew Barrymore, Henry Thomas, I can never remember the brother's name, but they're actually superb in that film, and the way they feel like real characters and stuff, or real people in that kind of situation. But was this based on a book? Was it? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you that. I know, obviously, it may be. I don't know if it's based on an official book.
It feels like it's based on something, but like you, it's a misfire on all accounts. I think
it's trying too hard. When I watched it pretty recently, it felt like it was trying really hard to be something and just missing the mark all the time. And like I said, the only watchable characters in it is Bob Hoskins' character and Dustin Hoffman's character, because they're the only ones that really play it in the way that it should be played. Everyone else is trying to play something that they're not. The kids are all trying to be something they're not. The eldest kid, Rufio, which is for some inexplicable reason a Mohawk teenager that exists in this space who takes over from the Pan. He acts really weird in it and then regresses to acting like a young child, because then by that point, Robin Williams' character has regressed to acting like a small child, because you have to act like a small child, even though they're adults in child bodies. And I have a weird thing about that. I don't even like the Haribo adverts when they have kids' voices coming out of adult bodies. So it just doesn't work in every direction. I mean, visually, it's very nice looking, and there's some amazing sequences in it. There is beautiful looking, especially in the early parts of the film. But he's trying to rely heavily on Robin Williams to carry a lot of the burden of the misfires in this film. And he can only take it so far. He only has so much gravitas and power to be able to do that by acting like a Robin Williams type character, which he does. When he gets to that point, he's acting like like he does in Aladdin when he's the genie. It's kind of that kind of almost like zany kind of crazy role.
Yeah.
But you can only do that for so long. And this film is also massively too long. What is it? 2 hours, 20 minutes? It's way too long. It's ridiculously long for a film of this time.
Yeah. Cost a lot as well, didn't it? It was a bit of a flop at the time.
Well, you can see why. Look at the size of that film set. Goodness.
I know 70 million was the estimated budget for this, so it's probably more than that. That's a big budget for 92. That's a big budget.
You got some heavy hitting actors in it. I mean, Hoffman's no slouch, is he? And you've got, I think, what's her name in the classic British older actress? Is it Maggie, whatever her name is? She's in it.
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith's in it. I think she's always watchable. It's got some watchable proper character actors in it. Bob Hoskins is a brilliant actor, and he's really good in this. Because he plays Smee, doesn't he? Smee. It's when it's okay, those bits are good, but other than that, and it still makes me laugh when he's going to kill himself and he's like talking himself in and out of it. It doesn't make me laugh. I'm going to shoot it. Smee, stop me, Smee, stop me. They're really good together. Those bits, they're the best bits in it by far.
Yeah, Hoffman is the best. Is the only thing in it. Yeah, for me. Misfire. Yeah. It's probably his biggest misfire since, although I don't mind the film, I can see why it didn't do well. It was 1941, wasn't it?
I quite like that, but
I quite like it, but it was a huge flop, wasn't it? It was Spielberg's biggest flop for the time. But I don't mind that one. This just feels, like you said, the premise is all wrong. It just feels like who wanted this?
Yeah.
No one. If you didn't fancy that, you could have seen The Doctor, which you probably have needed to after, maybe if you did go see it. Oh, I went to see Hook. Please prescribe me something. Yeah, William Hurt film, never seen it. Meet the Feebles also came out on this day.
Goodness me. It's hard to talk about Meet the Feebles, isn't it?
Yeah. I put amusingly, right, one of the, we had the Film Society when I was at university, which I was sort of in charge of doing the film planning for.
Oh my God.
And I put Meet the Feebles on.
Oh my God. And
so I warned them at the start. I gave a little talk for the film and said, this is what it is. I said, so, students who turned up, so this was 1995, 96. So students turned up. It was after, after college sort of thing, in the big lecture theatres, was on the big screen. And I explained what the film was, and I went, it doesn't pull its punches. It's not the Muppets. It may look like, and I warned them. And it was about half full to start with. There was about 5 people left at the end. Just left. They were like, "Oh no!" The toilet bit was the room cleaner.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. So, but I did warn them. I warned them.
The rabbit singing a song called "Sodomy" didn't put people off.
No, well that might have got a couple of people out, but. It was
you may think it very wrong of me. Sodomy. You may think it very wrong of me.
Absolutely. What's he doing? We called that the passage to India.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, just for those that are on the uninitiated, I suppose, it is I'm not even going to, I daren't use the term Muppets really in the same sentence, but it utilises that kind
Puppets,
of... Puppets, yeah.
To tell a story that is gross.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But it's Peter Jackson, for goodness sake. I mean, wow,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It is. I mean, this is just on the back of Brain Dead and Bad Taste, isn't it? So
was Brain Dead out at this point? Or was this is before Brain Dead, I think.
Is it before Brain Dead? I thought we'd had Brain Dead by now. I thought Brain Dead was...
I think we have. I think we would have been talking about that if we did.
I thought we had Brain Dead. Is this his second film then? It is 1989, actually. It's just taken 3 years to get over here.
Yeah.
I'm amazed it's got a cinema release.
I bet it was very limited.
I bet it was very, very limited.
But what amazes me, we're in a world where the director of Meet the Feebles is also famous for directing the Lord of the Rings movies, which sort of makes sense in its own crazy logic. But if you sat somebody down, right, we're going to watch 2 Peter Jackson films. This is the first one. They'll be like, what is this? And you'd be like, well, it's the same guy that made that and Heavenly Creatures and a few other amazing stuff. So
yeah, and that Get Back, didn't he? He did the Beatles documentary recently.
That was actually really, really good. And what's that one he did with Michael J. Fox?
The Frighteners. That's really good.
That's pretty good. That's really good. Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget. I mean, Pete Jackson he started off with Bad Taste, just a few of his mates, didn't he? Made it over 5 years, but he's literally almost responsible for New Zealand's film industry.
Yeah, and Wetter.
And Wetter. Yeah, I was just going to say, and Wetter, which is one of the world's leading special effects companies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So fair play to the guy from very humble beginnings and stuff. And
amazing what you do if you drink the chuck.
Yeah, absolutely, you get a chunky bit.
Yes, doesn't he? Oh, you never got asked I to do. Drink some chuck.
Yeah, but Meet the Feebles.
Elegant bouquet, Robert.
Gary, we know Gary's laughing right now. He's remembering those bits.
Aren't I lucky? I got a chunky bit.
The old magic's still there. I still use that line. I still use it all the time.
I might have to watch that again now.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Bad Taste in years.
Yeah. If you didn't fancy Meet the Feebles, and quite frankly, why would you? Final Analysis, there was also on. This bit boring.
Phil Janot, though.
Yeah, Phil Janot's quite an interesting director, isn't he? But this is Richard Gherkin, Basinger, Uma Thurman, Eric Roberts.
It's a pretty strong cast, isn't it, that?
Yeah, I think I watched it back in the day, but I don't really remember anything about it, if I'm honest.
I seem to remember you did, because I just remember you talking about it at the time, but I don't remember why, which is weird, isn't it? I literally have a decontextualized memory of something.
There's probably some smart camera work in it, because Phil Janot, didn't he do 3 O'Clock High and stuff?
Yeah, same guy did 3 O'Clock High.
And State of Grace, did he do State of Grace?
I want to say yes. I'm going to go with yes.
Good. Gary will know. He'll probably go right now. He's going, no, he didn't do that.
He's a big Janot fan, isn't he?
He's a big Janot fan. Yeah,
he's got his duvet is Phil Janot, isn't it?
Absolutely. His Tinder profile pictures of all Phil Janot.
No, with him. It's like just in the background. And when he was
just him.
Phil Geno's looking really annoyed, looking over his shoulder, looking angry, and he's like, because he's behind him going...
He's just badly cut out his own face and put it on Phil Geno's body.
God, that's terrifying, isn't it? He hadn't really done that, Phil, if you're listening.
No, he hasn't. 17th of April, though, there was Europa, Lars von Trier film. I was never going to watch it.
Nope. It would never have reached our transom.
Nope. Unlike Stop or My Mum Will Shoot, which was also out that day.
Well, it's a garbage.
It's just dreadful, isn't it? For anyone who don't know, it's a Stallone film with the hero out of Golden Girls, isn't it? The mum out of Golden Girls.
Yeah, one of them.
And
it is.
It's when they went all comedy at the beginning of the 90s for some reason. Trying to change up what they were doing and make some comedies, and it's just dreadful. 24th of April, there was The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
It's a pretty good movie, that.
Yeah, it was a big hit at the time, wasn't it? Small budget, about 11 million, took about 100 million, so it did quite well. That's a good return. Surprised there was no sequel at the time, but directed by Curtis Hanson. He did LA Confidential.
Good movie, that. And
it's a great film.
It is a good film, on Rocks the Cradle. Quite brutal in places. Definitely worth a revisit. Rebecca De Mornay is very good in it, actually.
Yeah, and they've recently remade it, haven't they? Done a remake.
Yeah, I'd read that somewhere. Yeah.
I don't know if it's out yet. It's got hair out of It Follows and Long Legs. It's the nanny.
Oh, yeah, she's good, actually.
Moira something or other. And it's, I think, what's her name? She's in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, third season of Fargo. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's the mum, I think. So could be all right. Good casting.
Yeah.
But why do we need a remake of it?
I don't know why we need a remake. It's like every voyage of discovery in this world, isn't it? Do you know, I discovered a thing today, which was that, do you know the guy that plays Moriarty in the most recent Sherlock Holmes movies? And he's also in Chernobyl. He plays like the main guy in Chernobyl, that guy.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. I know you mean.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He is the son of Richard Harris. You know
that? Yeah. Harris. Is he? The son of Richard Harris?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's Jared Harris,
was his dad, obviously. Yeah, Jared Harris is Richard Harris's son, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Explains why he's a good actor, because he's a very good actor.
He is actually a really good actor, yeah. So it just shows it's in his blood, isn't it?
Yeah. He's really good in the one of my favourite TV series, Fringe.
Okay, I've not seen that.
He's the bad guy in that. Really good sci-fi, that is. Really good sci-fi.
Oh, good. I'll watch that.
Yeah, it's good. If you didn't fancy Hand That Rocks Cradle, there was Naked Lunch.
Cronenberg.
Cut-up technique I like, right? It's William Burroughs, isn't it?
Yes, of course it is, yeah.
I don't think this was ever destined to work on the cinema screen in any kind of form, really.
If you like William Burroughs, and you're probably going to like it, because it's very Cronenberg version of that, and if it's of its thing, but it just never got into my transom. So.
No. There's also Ricochet. A hitman seeks revenge on a police officer turned district attorney. This Russell Mulcahy directed this.
Yeah, it surprised me that. I thought I'd never really come across it.
No, Denzel Washington and John Lithgow as well. Denzel Washington looks really young in this, but he's 38.
That's his power, though, isn't it? He is the modern Hawk. He is actually Peter Pan.
yeah, probably. I was like, he must be in his 20s when he filmed this, but it's like, he's 38. God, wish I looked that good when I was nearly 40. I didn't. Then there was Until the End of the World, Wim Wenders film.
No, never seen it.
No. And finally, Rebecca's Daughters, which stars Peter O'Toole. I've never seen it.
And it sounds boring.
Yes. It's a period drama. He dresses up as a woman or something and tries to lead some revolt or something. I don't know.
Concerns itself with the aristocracy who are taxing too common people to ruin. That's what the blurb says. It makes no sense either. Don't like it.
No, it doesn't. And that's it. That's your films. It's not a good month, is it?
No.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle, maybe the best. Meet the Feebles, obviously, for notoriety, but Hand That Rocks the Cradle is probably the best film there, probably. Yeah. That's it. What a boring month of TV and film. What a boring month.
Nothing doing. Nothing much doing.
No. We're going to go away, take a break, I think. Come back. We still have 3 games left to go, and one of them, it's the right excitement fest. You want to stick around for that one.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Growing up in the 80s is a chore for Sarah, who feels misunderstood by her parents and badgered by Reese, her bothersome brother who incessantly prattles on about his treasured computer games. When Reese tells her one of the games tried to pull him inside the computer, she laughs off his fanciful fib. She waggles the joystick to disprove his fairy tale and is pulled into the computer. Now trapped in games she'd never had any interest in playing, how can she possibly beat them? With the help of feisty Nell, another trapped player, can Sarah find her way back home, or is it game over? An evil madman, a hostile planet, bloodthirsty robots, a never-ending throng of karate experts, and relentless digital soldiers will do their best to ensure Sarah never escapes. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, find out if there's a way out of the beige bread bin of betrayal for Sarah in Escape from the Commodore 64.
And we're back. We are back to finish off April 1992. 3 more games. Let's see what they have in store for us. First one, it's over to you, Graham. This is Escaped. It's Escaped, and I didn't notice what it was. Otherwise, I would have never let it through the gate. But here we are. Let's talk about it. It's Famous 5-1, 5 on a Treasure Island. I'm sorry you got this one.
Well, this was $10.99. 70%. What? Say what? The publisher was Enigma Variations. Get the Shaku Hatches out.
Yeah.
Now, that's all it said on Lemon. That was it. So I did a bit of digging. What were Enigma Variations? What on earth was going on? And it says in one of the other blurbs, something else. The key staff members of this Enigma Variations were Stuart Cook, Mark Mason, Andy Swan, Jason McGann. They were all programmers. And Pete Tattersall and Sean McClure. Sean McClure, you might remember him from such games as, not joking. Sean McClure, they were the artists, so they must have done this between them all. So you're probably thinking, well, what's this Famous 5 malarkey? And I did a little bit of digging. Turns out that Enid Blyton was one of the most prolific and influential children's authors of the 20th century, known for her fast-paced storytelling, memorable characters, and sense of adventure. Her writing shaped generations of young readers across the UK and beyond, with stories that championed curiosity, independence, and friendship. You remember them.
I do.
A Famous 5 series, published from 1942 to 1963, follows 4 children, Julian, Dick, Anne, and their cousin Georgie, or Georgina, George, along with George's dog Timmy. Across 21 novels, they roam the English countryside, coastlines and villages, stumbling into mysteries, secret passages, smugglers, and treasure hunts. Yes, this is the 1940s version of Scooby-Doo. If you ever wonder where Scooby-Doo's influence came from, this is where it came from, without doubt.
Probably.
The books are light, energetic, and escapist, built around camaraderie, resourcefulness, and the thrill of discovery. Qualities that helped make the series a timeless classic. The core plot of the Famous 5 on Treasure Island, which is the first book of the entire series, centers on the children's first adventure together and their discovery of a long-lost family secret. And that, in the modern parlance, that could be something horrific. During a summer holiday, Julian, Dick, and Anne stay with their cousin George at Kirin Cottage. George shows them her pride and joy. These are the more charming times, so, just hold your breath. Kirin Island, a rugged little island she adores. After a violent storm wrecks a ship on the island rocks, the children explore the debris and find evidence of an old treasure linked to George's ancestors. This sounds a lot like the Goonies, just saying. Yeah. They encounter a mysterious map, explore the ruined castle on the island, and eventually realise that unsavoury adults are also after the treasure. It sounds a lot like the Goonies. Working together with Timmy the dog's help, they race to secure the hidden gold and protect George's family property. Sounds very much like the Goonies. Or should I say the Goonies sounds a lot like that, doesn't it?
It does really, yeah.
Yeah, with bits of, I suppose, Tintin, maybe hints of Tintin-ish stuff in there. At its heart, Adrian, the story is about newfound friendship, trust, and the excitement of a first big adventure, setting the tone for the entire series. However, modern criticism of the Famous 5 on Treasure Island often focuses on its outdated social attitudes. The book reflects the norms of the 1940s, including clear class distinctions, unquestioned respect for authority, and occasional caricatured portrayals of working class or outsider characters. These elements can feel old-fashioned or problematic when viewed through a contemporary lens. Gender roles are another constant point of critique. While George stands out as a bold, rebellious girl, Anne is frequently cast in domestic or cautious roles, reinforcing traditional expectations about how boys and girls should behave. This contrast highlights the uneven way female characters are represented across the story. Critics also note the simplicity of the book's moral universe. The plot frames characters as distinctly good or bad, with little nuance. And the formulaic structure, holiday, mystery, isolated setting, tidy resolution can feel repetitive compared with modern children's literature, which often offers more complexity and character depth. It was the 40s when they were written. Yeah,
exactly.
Finally, some modern readers raise concerns about xenophobic or stereotypical depictions of foreigners and other outsider figures. Probably not as bad as it got later down in the 70s, I wager. These portrayals are products of their time, but they contribute to discussions about how the book should be introduced to young readers today. Believe it or not, in some states in the US, these books are banned.
Wow.
Another modern criticism relates to the nomenclature, particularly names such as Fanny, Dick, Aunt Fanny, or Uncle Dick that appear in Blyton's wider works. They're not typically in the famous 5 core cast, although you might think differently if you play this game.
Absolutely.
These names were perfectly ordinary in the 1940s, but have taken on a very different slang today. As a result,
is that from Wikipedia?
Yes.
You need to write something about that.
As a result, contemporary readers, especially children, often react with humour or distraction when these names appear. With a tee-hee-hee, you'll be saying things like Dick and things like that. Some modern editions have quietly updated them to avoid unintended jokes or to keep the narrative flowing without pulling readers out of the story. This isn't viewed as censorship so much as a practical edit to match shifting language norms, because they've changed the words of the book, okay? So in short, changing slang and cultural associations mean that certain names now carry connotations that were never intended. So, and there's one in particular, when in this, you have to examine Dick, don't you? When that had a whole different connotation.
Yeah.
And this can affect how modern audiences engage with the Blyton's old text. All right, let's face it, this is an adventure game, a text-based adventure game with some graphics in it based on the Enid Blyton story that I've just said, and therefore you are going to play through the adventure. It is a text/image-based adventure game, of course, where you can select and switch between the 4 characters of the famous 5. You can't be the dog, which I thought was a bit of a shame. And the idea here, as with all text-based adventures, is you have to examine the space you are in, make selected choices, and initially try and get out of a train carriage, which is very frustrating to do because you can't actually leave the train carriage or do anything until it stops. So,
which is sensible.
Sensible, yeah, of course, but you can't even get up and look around the train carriage or look around the room you're in or do anything. And there's a couple of annoying habits for this particular adventure. So when there's no image on the screen, there's the text of the adventure will play at the top, and you have a text box at the bottom where your dialogue appears and will appear in the screen. Okay, that's fine. And you type your entries in the standard way, and text will be revealed to you. However, if there's an image on the screen, which there is more often than not in this, like in the first bit, there's an image of a train carriage, which are okay drawings. They're not Defender of the Crown standard, but they're all right on the whole.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point, the text that appears is then shunted downwards to 3 lines of text, which is really frustrating to read because you constantly have to press the button which says press a key to see more, so you have to see more text, and so it scrolls the text through 3 characters high. That's a small window of text for a large volume of text, which there is in this. There's great big paragraphs to read, which makes the reading of the paragraphs really challenging to do because you have to read them in small 3-line chunks. That's annoying. No sound in any of this. And the idea is that you're basically following the story of the stories I've just read out. So you're basically having to find the treasure map with your adventure. You start off in the train, you get to the small place, you go into the cottage, and then obviously standard adventure stuff applies. Find this, do that. The dialogue that's in this is really strange. Now I found a walkthrough of this, so I was able to sort of progress because honestly, I didn't have a clue. When I just went in fresh and dry, as it were. This game needs you to be lubed before you can really play it. I wasn't lubed. I went in dry. Nothing good comes of that, does it? Nothing.
No, nothing.
I ended up with a chafing, really, I would say. Yeah. Mental chafing. So I'm there going, talk to Dick, nothing. Talk to Anne, you can't do that. You can't do anything. And then eventually, it says stuff's happened. It says the train then stops at a station, and you have to basically, first of all, you have to examine Dick. Believe it or not, you have to actually type that in, and then you can sort of basically work your way through the system, and eventually you get off the train, and you then stood on a platform, and you get the kind of standard text of this. You are standing on the platform of Kinrin Station, blah blah blah, and it's an adventure. So I can't say much more because I didn't play the adventure to completion. The walkthrough is quite extensive. It's quite a long adventure game. All I can say is this. It felt old-fashioned. Some of the dialogue that you see is weird because it's, like I said, examine Dick, Aunt Fanny, Dick in Fanny. There's all sorts of silly stuff like that, which you're looking at it going, really? But that is of its time. Is there a good adventure game in here? Maybe there is. But it is in complete silence. The dialogue is written in Enid Blyton style as well. So it's all lashings of this and if that's your thing, if you like Enid Blyton, maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you'll enjoy playing through the adventure. But what I'd probably recommend in preference, instead of spending the $10.99 on this, it's just go and buy the damn book and read it. You're probably going to get more out of that if you're really into this Enid Blyton type stuff. I never was. I have never been an Enid Blyton fan. I did actually have a famous 5 book. I think I got it from a charity shop for some reason. I can't remember. I think I was going to give it to Gary for Christmas one year, which I never did. She's making me think of what I can get him this year. But I've never been into it. I never was as a kid, never into this sort of stuff. So this actually had literally no meaning for me at all. I'm Darth Vader on this. That book has no meaning for me. However, it did make me think about the comic strips version of this, which was 5 Go to whatever it was.
Was it 5 Go Mad in Dorset or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and that's actually quite funny. And that's obviously a piss take of this kind of thing. So it's worth going and revisiting that for the funny value. But it's an adventure game based in a universe I have absolutely no desire to be in. And every now and again I was tittering because it was the examine dick, hold dick, talk to dick. I was getting dick jokes. And I didn't even want them. So that's it. That's all I've got to say. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of adventure games, as we all know. But one where you just wander aimless. Because I thought, I'm just going to play it. I was going to play it, wander aimlessly about with no sense of purpose or plot. It was just too much for me. I was waiting for something to happen. Tell me, it took me ages to get the right command to get off the train. I did. Then I boringly meandered my way up to the cottage. I bought some ices and ginger beer along the way, and I ate them because they were about to melt. I explored the house. I found some rope and a candle. But to what end? To what end? I don't know. I turned the radio on, and I got told off, and it got turned off. I was like, oh, God, this place... I couldn't be bothered to try and find anything else to do. I suppose I could have used a candle in the dark store cupboard, but I didn't. I don't think it said you don't have a match. You can't light it. I was like, can't do with it. I was really bored. I really wish I'd checked what game this was before including it. That'll learn me. That's what I should do. I must examine the games more. Examine games. Check.
It was in Zapped,
games.
so
it was
in Zapped.
It was. I even tried to jump off the bloody cliff to end it all, but it just says you just jump up in the air and go whee. I
tried to jump off the train. It was like, nah, you're not doing that.
What I wanted. Yeah, I did find a quarry. There's nothing to do there though. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of jolly, exciting adventures we're going to happen at some point, but they didn't for me, and not for me. This no. That's why we don't do adventure games. We're just not built for it.
No, well, even if we've tried. We've played the Draculas and the Frankensteins. That's more in our wheelhouse for that kind of thing with a piffling bear. Oh, and really, this is probably more in that. Even more in that kind of. These ginger beers are terrible. But it's just nah.
No. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. If you do want to play with Survive, just go read the book. At least you don't have to solve a puzzle to turn the bloody page.
Oh, do you? Oh, go watch Scooby Doo. Oh, Goonies. If you really want to see it taken to a more modern context.
That is true. Yeah, do that. There we go. That's Famous 5. It's not for us. Let's move on. To the precious Moontorcs. I'm going to file a protest. Feeding him to giant spiders without benefit of council. It's not the way we do things. He chose to steal the precious Moontorc.
Yes.
This is Moontorc. It's now time to see who might have wanted to have written. That's my first line. To steal the precious Moontorcs. Anyway, it's Moontorc. That's talk with a Torc.
Aye.
It's not talking about moons.
No.
Which would have been funny if this was just a game about talking about moons. You see the moon? Yeah, the moons of Saturn. Oh, they're really good.
We only ever see one side of the moon.
But if we're talking moons, the Jupiters. Oh, Io and the like. Moontorc. This was released by Atlantis Software. And the original design here was by the Shaw brothers. I think that's on the Spectrum. And this was converted by Pantheon Software with music by Tonal Chaos and the visuals by Chris Edwards. Lemon has some further credits. Andrew Bowen down as the coder. And this could go either way. He did The Champ, which wasn't good. We also did Speedball, which was good. Yeah. I don't know. Chris Edwards, he did Gemini Wing, Space Gun, Shadow Dancer, The Champ, Chips Challenge, another one. Tonal Chaos, they did Super Kid, Skating USA, if you remember those. Now, interestingly, this lot, Pantheon Software, they also did a game called Cave Mania. It came out in 1990. Wasn't reviewed in Zap. This game owes quite a hell of a lot to that game in the way it looks, controls, and even some of the visuals and some of the little effects as well. But I digress. Moontorc, it's all about. Your task, according to the instructions, is to rescue Princess Lalina from the clutches of the evil Dark Lord. Progress is made by finding gold, using it to obtain keys, extra weapons, shield, and Moontorc parts, and giving the completed Moontorc to the ferocious tollmen that guard the exits to each of the 4 levels of the old world.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you got to do with this. That's what you get. Okay. So the game loads up. There's a nice loading screen showing our burly hero in all his brown finery. Really brown. He's decked out in proper brown. Before we get to the title screen, it's got the UI at the bottom, always a sign. along with the credits, name of the game at the top. Like on a little scroll. Looks all right, I suppose. Nice. There's also a tune. It's a bit busy, though, for my liking. There's a busy tune. Seems to be too busy. Pressing fire starts the game. Music stops. What we have here is going to be very familiar if you played Cave Mania. You control a little guy who, in contradiction to the loading screen, is all in blue.
Yes, that's true.
He's not in brown. So that guy, I don't know who that guy is on the front screen, loading screen. It's not him.
No.
And what we have here is a left-to-right flick screen platform adventure, I guess you could say. So, and it's flat as well. No going up. No going up. Just left to right. Left to right flickery. That's all you do. So you can walk left and right, and you can jump up. But you can jump up in this, thank God, or you can jump the diagonals. No controlling the jump, though. So you better be jumping where you want to be, because if you're not, you'll live to regret it. You'll be in the places where you don't want to be because you've jumped and you can't control it, and that's whatever happens. Down, though, if you press down, that switches to the items in your inventory, which is shown on the UI at the bottom of the screen. There's a series of icons. From left to right, these go your health, so it's a heart. Then there's some axes, which can be thrown. There's throwing stars, which can be thrown. There's gold. There's some shields, and there's your knapsack for keeping interesting items in.
Hey,
and finally, there's a sword. I don't know why your sword isn't next to the axes and throwing star. Keep your weapons together. You switch between these with down, so on the joystick. So pressing down will flick. There's little kind of pointers on which one it is. So you press down, it'll move to the next one. Go all the way to the right, and then it flip back to the one on the left. It's easy enough to do. And you press fire. When you press fire, that activates them. So whichever one. So if you've got the pointers next to the axe, over the axe, then you'll throw an axe or a star, or you'll swing your sword, or you'll open your knapsack, and it'll bring up a little menu. So you get a list here of your items. You can move up and down to select them. And you can press fire, who uses them. If you're in the right place, it'll use them. Or if you're not, it won't. It's that kind of thing. For example, near the start of the game, there's a green door at the bottom of the screen, one of the screens. As you progress along, you'll find a little green key. Walk up to the door, open your knapsack, use the key, door will open, allowing you to get some treasure on the previous screen. You have to kind of go back and forth across the screens, not all forward to the right. You've got to go back and forth and whatever. Simple enough. It's not much in the way of brain power. It's just simple, really. Dead simple stuff. Enemies patrol the platforms, and you can just walk into them to kill them. You'll lose some energy, though, but you can just walk into them. A little power will appear. It's like, okay. But, ideally, you want to try and hit them with your sword, which is impossible. You're best off using your axes or your stars. Axes tend to take them out in one hit. Stars take a few more. There are also handy characters dotted about, and they will sell you stuff like replenishments for your weapons. So, because you've got a finite supply of axes and stars, a little number next to them for how many you've got. You can't just use them willy nilly. You've got to sort of take care and replenish them. You can also buy parts of the precious Moontorc from them as well, and keys. And you'll need the keys to progress. And you can also buy spells. And this is all bought. There's little treasure chests that dot about the level. So you find those, that makes your gold go up on the UI, and then you can obviously go buy stuff. If you haven't got any gold left, you can't buy anything. That's it. And that's about it, really. I mean, there's not much more to this. You make your way through these flick screens, killing enemies, finding gold, wandering about, buying or finding Moontorc pieces, and then you hand them over. You get to the end of the level, there's a boss stood there, and if you've got enough of the Moontorc pieces, he goes, that'll do nicely, and you move on to the next one, the next of 4 levels. That's kind of it. Do precisely the same, only with different graphics in the background.
Yep.
And then at the very end, you rescue your princess. That's it. It's $3.99 this. So as a budget title, I guess it's okay. There are some nice elements to this, I guess, most notably the visuals, which I thought were pretty decent throughout. There's some nice backgrounds to this, some nice backdrops, use of colour through all the levels. First is like a fantasy forest. The second is all like cold blue stonework. The third being all green bricks, like you're in a sewers or something, and blocks. And the final level being a different kind of forest with different kind of platforms. Use of good use of shading though throughout them. And it's pretty good. So this is an okay game, an okay budget game to look at. Not top of the tree, but it's not an unpleasant game to look at. The sprites, they're a bit small, they're a bit bitty, but there's some okay animation. Some of the enemies are actually quite nicely sort of designed though, and they look the part. They're all grey sort of thing, but they actually they've got a sort of nice bit of sort of character to them. And the characters that you go and talk to as well, like there's a little wizard, there's like a jester, there's a witch kind of character. and they all look good as well. So that's the nice element to this. It does look okay.
Yeah.
It's just a shame it's not a great game to play. Because the jumping and movement seems stilted and stiff and jerky, which is a problem. The first thing you've got to do in this game, you've got to jump over a big piece of water, a massive gap, and you probably won't make it, and you'll lose some health. And it seems like a really strange thing to make you do right at the start, because falling in is back to the place you died from to do it again. It seems punitive. Why put that right in the opening screen? Who designed this? Who thought this was a good idea? Then there's a slowdown. There's a lot. For seemingly no reason, there's not a lot moving on screen. I don't understand why there's some slowdown here. And it's usually at most 4 or 5 sprites on screen at most. There's not a lot going on. I have no idea why slowdown's happening. And it just, can you walk onto the screen? It's like, it's like it's load. It's like, oh, what's going on? Just random moments. It's annoying and off-putting. Then it's the enemies, and they do that annoying thing where they respawn as you flick from screen to screen, often right where you're appearing sometimes, so you unavoidably take damage because they're just there where you're coming onto the screen. That's bad planning. Don't do that. You know where the player is probably going to enter the screen from. Don't put an enemy right next to it. Don't do it. It's just annoying. And so further to this, the design of the game means you need the right number of keys to proceed. And as you need these, some of them you can't use, some of them you find, but some of them need to be bought from the characters dotted about. So, and you can spend your money on whatever you want. You can find yourself with not enough money if you spend it on weaponry or health or whatever, and then you're unable to proceed. You hard lock yourself. You can't do it. Can't progress. As you only get 1 life, it's pretty unforgivable, really. 4 levels and you're done for. There's no password system or anything. So it's a bit of a trial and error thing. That's really bad design. It was terrible when we saw it in Avenger all those years ago. And it's just as bad here. That's just really bad design. Never hard lock progress for your player. That's just really bad. Have the items in the levels that you need and make sure that they get them. But there you go. There's also no music in this game, so it makes it a dull and lifeless affair. Not much in the way of sound effects either, so it's just played a lot of silence, like a few when you're throwing stuff. It's just another one we've seen this year. Just loads of them. Don't know why they don't leave the music. There's music on the title screen. Just leave it playing at least. Fill the gaps in. I don't know. More silence, dull platforming, stiff controls. I like the visuals. That's about it. If you've played Cave Mania, so Cave Mania, you were playing basically a caveman, exactly the same kind of controls. Even when there's enemies, when you kill them, there's even that little power thing that comes up when you kill them in this, exactly the same. That basically was you had to go across a few screens and collect eggs and then bring them back to the cave. And it was kind of a bit more of a platformy challenge type one without this. They've expanded this into the adventure, but the actual controls and playing of it are identical. They just sort of expanded it out. So if you like that, you might like this because it's really very similar. But I just thought this wasn't for me. I found this really dull and boring, and it just doesn't feel good to play. It's not good in the hand. The controls are not right. The jumping is bad. And like I said, slow down and being able to lock yourself out of progress. No, that's never a good thing, even for £4. So I couldn't get excited about Moontorc, I'm afraid. What did you think?
Well, excitement is a word, isn't it? I liked the way it looked in its own way. I quite like some of the colour and the graphics. It had that part I liked. So those bits, I thought if they'd just stuck to having a better control system, I thought the music was a bit busy and a bit annoying, but it's them horrible jump controls. When you jump and you kind of it doesn't quite work, does it? Just jump. Make him jump. It didn't have to follow the line of trees, and it was weird.
Yep.
So if I want to jump at an angle, I wonder, why can't they get it right? How many years are we into the C64 now? We've had loads of games that have just jumped when you went to press, up and to the right or up to the left. Why are we suddenly having trouble with jumping in sort of straightforward flip screen or platformers or these arcade sort of adventures? Why are we having trouble with it? We've seen this loads. This would have been, just fixing that would have made this game a million times better straight off the bat.
Yep. Yeah.
And then, because a game where it's got this kind of cutesy look and feel to it, noodling around in a game like that for finding stuff, I don't mind it so much in those, because it's kind of got a fun look to it. Had it had a bit more, oddly, less busy sort of annoying music and more sort of twiddly-twee, more Robin of the Wood kind of vibe, maybe.
Yeah.
This could have been a nice little, Ghosts and Goblins-esque type game. It's of that. if I just thought, or even if you go back to sort of the BBC type games, when we looked years ago, we looked at things like Citadel on the BBC, which looks a bit like this, obviously BBC graphics and stuff. But the idea of having a little character exploring stuff, I'm not opposed to that, contrary to what you might think. But the formula for it's just been set. So if you're going to do it cutesy, fine, stick to cutesy, put lots of cutesy little things in it, make it fun and cutesy and do that sort of stuff. These games live and die by that kind of thing if you stick to it. But making cock-ups like not putting a good control system in, it's just stupid when you've gone to all the effort of all the other stuff. Mm-hmm. This had the makings of something, and now I'm so sick, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm stuck on repeat. This had all the makings of a good game. Unfortunately, they cocked up some of the key parts of the game design, which left it wanting, mostly wanting fun. And what I really needed was also earplugs by the time I'd finished with that awful music. $3.99 worth of game, therein lies the problem. It just didn't have enough underneath it to make it more interesting. So it's $3.99 again. It's the curse of the $3.99 game, isn't it? It's the curse of the late the 90s budget games. They just sort of get it to a point and go, there you go. And all it would have taken was a little bit more spit and polish, a little bit more playtesting, a little bit more around thinking that the jumping mechanics just need that little bit of extra fix. But it's like, no, $3.99 doesn't buy you that kind of development, does it? Nope. So it's such a pity because I really like the look of this. The way the graphics are done in a modern world on a mobile device, this would be quite popular with the graphics style like that. Yeah. And I've even played and seen games on the app and the Apple Arcade that look a bit like that. But other than that, no. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a miss and another hit, isn't it? What score did it get? 70%? I don't think so.
No, I don't either. No.
I was disappointed because I thought this had the. Why am I disappointed? What I was disappointed, what I wasn't was shocked because hey, there's another one that does exactly what all the others have done, cock something up that shouldn't have been, and then just pushes it out anyway because there's probably not, by this point 10 people that are probably going to buy it, so they're only going to make a cozy 30 odd quid. So there you go. But shame. Because I quite like the look of it.
Precious Moontorc. There we go. Let's move along. We still have one game left this month. Let us maybe hope that it's actually a decent one. And Graham, well, it's time for you. We had Moontorc. Now we've got Zoomerang. Tell us all about it.
Well, it wasn't going to take long. And I'll tell you, there's a few reasons why. So this is Zoomerang, $3.99. It was published by Atlantis Software. It was created by Colin Jones. He did Race Against Time and Rockstar Ate My Hamster, if you remember that.
I do.
And the musician is by the misnomer of Nice Noise, because it ain't a nice noise in this. Pretty naff noise, actually horrible. This is a very difficult game to find anything about. I could not find any instructions for this, and you need them. The only instructions I could find were, and the basics of them were in the Zap review, because they simply trying to find anything with the word zoom in the modern world leads you to many things about zoom things, zoomers, Zoom, the software. It was impossible, and I could not find. Now, there was no Amiga instructions that I could find or any other version instructions, nor could I find anything like that. There was a version that came out on a streaming platform, a modern one. I found the link to that, though there was no instructions on that. So clearly nobody knows what the fuck to do with this game, because I certainly didn't have a clue when it started. Inexplicably, the loading screen is a yellow-haired pink man shouting. I don't know what that was all about or what it is indeed even for. I think that's just a representation of what you look like after about 2 minutes of this game.
Yep.
So there is a story to it, and they allude to it in Zap. I'm actually not going to go through it because they've sort of picked it apart. Basically, in Zap, it says there's this evil empress dude called Min, and you're in her castle, but now you want to go home. However, she's separated your mind from your body, probably when you were nibbling that digestive biscuit. And that's a Zap bit, isn't it? And whatever, blah, 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 hyperbole, keeps his mind in the bottom of the drawer. What's this? It takes him ages to say anything. All right, it's a puzzle game.
It is.
So the game starts, when you start the game, should I say, after you've got past that weird screen, the music will be annoying you already at this point. And you're presented with a main window where there are some angled pieces of what possibly are just bouncy angle things. I just call them triangles. And on the right-hand side, you've got 3 blocks, one that says level, one that says lives, and one that says gems. And to the left of that, there is a square, and in that square, there is a 3x4 representation of triangles. They look like right-angled triangles to me. And there is a gap in there, and there is a little lightning bolt, and then bouncing around in this from pillar to post is what looked like a yellow ball thing, which I think is a person in there, or I don't know what it is. It's a green ball cat thing. I don't know. It's the thing. The green ball.
I don't know. Yeah.
From what I can gather, the idea of this is that you use the joystick because you have control of the like a target reticule type thing, which is like a little block. and you use that to control the target view, and you will align that over the triangles, and you will press your fire button, and that will change the rotation of those said pieces. And as the ball bounces around, you'll notice that the ball actually bounces around. What you'll think initially would be that it bounces in relation to the angle of the long side of the right angle triangle. I can tell you that's not true. It doesn't quite work that way.
Yes.
Sometimes it does. So if you're coming in from the right and you bounce to the angled side of a right angled triangle with the angle facing to the left, that will angle you down sometimes. Sometimes it just angles you up. I don't know why, it just does. If you hit the back or long side of the right angled triangle, that will sometimes bounce you backwards or sometimes bounce you downwards or up again. It seems a little bit arbitrary. The idea of this is that you have to first off collect the gems by bouncing around or any of the pieces to escape. And in the first level, you have to unblock the doorway where there are 2 lightning bolts. And the only way you can turn the lightning bolts off is by coming at them from the correct direction. So you have to then, so when you'll notice that when the green ball thing goes across them, sometimes there'll be 2 lightning bolts. It means you've enabled it. Sometimes there'll be 1, and then you've got to come back across that one to disable the final one. So the idea is you've got to approach the exit from the right route as you bounce around. And I can tell you, it's no fun, this at all. It's very confusing, and it's next to impossible to get that bloody green ball to go the exact way that you want it to go. I couldn't seem to do it. Now, you've got quite a generous time limit to this, and every time you bounce on something that you shouldn't, you lose a little bit of that time. But you're on this level for ages, and I think that's to give you enough time to try and figure it out. Now, I carefully thought, well, because the green ball travels on a particular route, and as you're changing its route, it'll bounce around, but it will always go kind of in a similar route. And you think, actually, so you can sort of create a pathway that it's going to go around and think, right, I'm going to do it this way. And you can start to try and envisage the way you're going to do it. And you'll position and angle the little, let's call them mirror tiles, whatever they are, but you see the little angle things, you position them where you think it's going to go. And then when the green thing comes along, it bounces in completely a different direction. You're thinking, hang on a minute, why didn't that go the way I thought it would go? Because nothing in this puzzle game seems to do what you expect it to do. Now, I didn't get off the first screen because I just could not get out of this damn door. I don't know if you did. Maybe you're better at these.
I did. I got to the third screen. It don't get any better.
But I just couldn't be arsed with it. It was just something bouncing around with very little payoff, really annoying noise. Maybe there's a good game in here for people that like this, and maybe you can get into the space of the game. But I just couldn't. I just bounced straight off it because we've said this many, many times, and I'm going to say it one final time. Okay, just to be clear. When you make a puzzle game of this type, make the first levels easy so that your players understand how to play the game. Get them into the spirit of the game. And if you want a really, really good example of that being done to its absolute peak, go and play Million Molly. Million Molly is a great little game created by one of our amazing listeners. It's a great game, and it's out in all different formats. Principally, there's a C64 version. Go and play that. But it's a complicated game. By the time you get to level 40 plus, it gets rock hard. But those first levels, they're nice and easy, so you know how to figure out the controls, and you get into the game space, and then you start to get into the puzzles more gently. You need an in for that. You can't just throw people in at the super complicated end and expect them to make sense of a load of angled pieces of shit on the screen and with a bouncing P and go, right, okay, so if I go over that zigzag thing, it disappears. Oh, right, there's 2 now. Well, if I move this triangle, it's like no one wants to figure that shit out. Only really the Adrian Millses of this world want to figure that shit out, and I suspect that wasn't for long.
No,
I bounced off this game quicker than a heavy bowling ball would bounce off a trampoline, let me tell you that. And that's pretty quick. I thought it was ugly and undelightful. The graphics in it are there's kind of a base relief effect. I'm not going to say they're bad graphics, apart from that weird title base thing. They're not bad graphics for what they are. They're representations of the puzzle space. But this game is just inexplicable by visual cue. You can't read the game when it first loads, which you need to be able to do with no instructions. Now, even with the vague instructions that are in Zap, I got the basic gist, but could I get it to do those things? Not a cat in hell's chance. Was I going to then persevere with it? Well, I tried long enough. And bear in mind that the level seemed to go on forever. I was praying for death because I just thought I can't be gassed with it anymore. Make it stop. So I didn't enjoy my time with Zoomerang. And that's as much as the experience I can say. Maybe something for really hardcore puzzle fans, but there's other better puzzle games out than that. So go get one of them. What do you think?
81% he got, by the way. 81.
No. I got 81%. I don't know, because they hate on it in the review in Zap. They don't like it. Make it a point of saying they don't like it. So I don't know. It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
Yeah. The ball does not bounce in the way it should. That's the fundamental problem here. And having it bounce back on the previous screen, you'd get off that screen, right? It bounces downwards. There's a block which instantly bounces it back into the screen you were just on, that opening screen. That's what happens.
I'm glad that didn't happen to me.
So, and what happens, right? Because you control this thing, you move a cursor around to flick things. So when it bounces onto the next screen, you've got to get to the point quickly, otherwise it just bounces straight back, and then it's back on the other screen, and you're like, it's bouncing back around that bit, and you've got to hopefully it'll come back, and when it comes back, you kind of go in, all right, oh, it's so annoying.
No.
It's just a pain in the ass. A puzzle, and I've written the same as you. A puzzle game that is annoying from the get-go is not a good puzzle game in my book.
Nope.
It's just not. You need the game to tell you what it is about and how to play it and allow you some time to become accustomed to the mechanics on offer. There's none of that, though. Just throwing you in with a manic piece of music, a ball bouncing around, and triangles that don't bounce the ball as they should do.
No.
Which is, for me, is the main issue here. Alongside easing you in, puzzle games need to be easy to read and pass the information in front of you so you can get on with the act of puzzling out what to do. Not also trying to remember why a triangle doesn't work the way it should.
Exactly.
I found this very annoying and didn't play it for long. I got to the third screen and it was just bouncing around something else, and then something else appeared to try and kill me, and I got trapped. And I was like, oh, I'm done with this rubbish. You failed at the first hurdle of making a good puzzle game because you have programmed it, whoever you were, Mr. Colin Jones, and you know how it all works, and you've assumed that everybody else did, and you've never put it in the hands of anybody else.
That's right.
Playtesting has not happened here, because anybody who playtests this would go, well, what do I do? This is dead annoying. So this isn't worth 81%. I mean, it's fluid, and I guess it works exactly as Mr. Jones wanted it to, but no one's got a cat and else chance of understanding that apart from him.
Nope.
So bad game. There we go. That's not a good month. That's not a good week. It's a bit dull and a bit boring, but that's it. So what do we look at this week anyway? We looked at Indy Heat, which is probably the best of the week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said, by default really, but that's not saying much, is it?
Default. Q10 Tankbuster, which we'd played before. Famous 5, which, is what it is. Precious Moontorc, and Zoomerang. What a game. What a week. There were some budget releases that were in the magazine that we'd looked at before. They were 3D Pool, which is ironic, because we did that 3D snooker.
True.
Not too long back, didn't we? That's the better version of that. There was Ghouls and Ghosts for $3.99. Did we like that, or was it just the music we liked?
The game was all right.
Game was all right, but the music was the standout, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
However, $3.99 would have got you Midnight Resistance. That's a good buy. That was a really good Midnight Resistance. And $3.99 might have also bought you Game Over 2.
Okay.
Not sure about that one. Not sure. That's it. That's your budget lot. No crap verts, I'm afraid. No charts. It's all winding down. Let's face it. It's all, the C64 is an afterthought in most magazines at this point, and that is what it is. But we've still got a few months left. May 1992 is up next. There are 8 games to look at. So this is what we've got in score order. Not how we will look at them. I'll probably look at the first one first, but the first game we were looking at. So games we're looking at over the next couple of weeks, or maybe it's just next week. I'm not sure when we're on a Christmas break. Space Crusade. There's the conversion of that.
Okay.
Wonder what that's going to be like.
Board game. Probably won't be.
We liked Hero Quest. We liked Hero Quest, the board game as well.
We did.
But it gets 93%. So don't know. Bonanza Brothers or Bonanza Bros. Not Mario.
Okay.
Not Mario. Murray Mouse Murray Mouse Super Cop budget title.
Okay.
Something called Biff.
What the hell's that?
Just Biff. I don't know.
Okay.
Winter Super Sports. These aren't just any old sports. These are super sports. Soccer Pinball. I'm not liking the idea of that already. This sounds interesting. Striker in the Crypt of Trogan.
How does that mean?
I don't know. I'm going to have to have a look at that. I've not even looked at these yet. So I'm going to look at Striker in the Crypt of Trogan. Oh my God. Have you got lemon open? Have you got lemon open? Just bring up Striker. It's spelled with a Y, by the way. Stryker.
Striker. Okay.
Yeah, just bring that up. Look at the first screen that'll greet your eyes.
Oh God, what's that? Is he tickling that skeleton's scrotum?
I don't know. But the other skeletons down the bottom look well happy. He's got a really long arm as well. I don't know what's
What is
going
on with that? It's a bit crap, isn't it?
I don't know. Oh, look at the second picture.
I know. What is that? The weak spot shall perish.
Isn't that from Zardoz?
It looks a bit like Zardoz, doesn't it? That, yeah. Well, God knows what that is.
Anyway, Striker in the Crypts of Trogan. That should be a laugh. That looks dreadful. But that's not the worst game. I suppose the worst game is something called Catalypse.
Oh no, that doesn't sound good, does it?
No. So that's it. That's what we've got coming up over the next 2 episodes. That's May 1992. It sounds like a bumper crop of brilliance, Graham.
It does.
So I'm sure we'll have some fun playing those 8 games. It'll be 4 games each week, but there you go. That's it. We move along. We've only got, 7 months left? 7 months of Zaps?
That's it.
May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Is that May, June, July, August, September, October, November? Yeah, 7. I have to count. I choose my fingers. Anyway, there you go. We will be here next week. I'm not sure if that's going to be the last one for this year before we break for Christmas, or whether we'll get both May in over the next couple of weeks. I don't know. We'll definitely be next week. We'll say next week whether we'll do one week after.
We'll have to see after that, yeah.
Because obviously then we get into like the weeks of Christmas and everything, and it gets a bit, we will, there's a Christmas cracker coming.
Yep.
So, and we'll actually be announcing, the Christmas cracker, as we'll say now, the Christmas cracker is where we will be announcing the plans for post-Zap. It's what the podcast will become once we have finished the coverage of Zap. So we're going to announce that in the Christmas cracker and let you all know. So hopefully, you'll be happy with what we've got planned.
You'll like it, or you'll live out the rest of your lives in a pain amplifier. To quote June.
I was just going to say, I hope you like it, but what he said.
Yeah, and just make sure the Bene Gesserit witches have left before we talk about that. Don't want any of them involved.
Indeed. So that's coming up over the next couple of weeks, next few weeks. Graham, you got anything you want to add on April or anything in general?
No. What can I say? When it comes to it, doesn't it? When we look at the games of this particular, episode 208 and episode 209, and they're like, what's the best game? When you think of it, it's like just nothing really to shout about, is there? No. It's just but then again, also the TV and film of the time is also uninspired, and the charts are struggling with music. This is a bit of a lull time. There's a lull. Yeah. So hopefully we can start to pick up the pace and get some of these, some of these things that might be a bit interesting. Space Crusade with 93%. Let's, fingers crossed. Let's see if they can finally do something good with a very good franchise to do something good with. Other than that, nothing else to add. Goodbye, April.
Goodbye, April, indeed. Okay, let's leave our listeners. And so we'll be back next week. We start May. See how that goes. As ever, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham Raddings.
And you have been listening to Zap to the Past with lashings of ginger beer and getting annoyed with triangles that don't do the right thing. Jumps that don't work.
Dick.
Examining dicks. Mini Spocks. Examining someone's mini Spock.
Oh, no.
That's what this has come to. Playing a game that we've played before and, Indy Heat. Oh, God. Anyway, we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zap to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zap to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zaptothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zaptothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zap to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something. Apparently, the Zap to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zap to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.